Bueno, gente, acá estamos una vez más
¿Estamos en vivo?
Geek Central, en vivo. Estamos en vivo. Este es como Daddy Yankee preguntando su canción. No, esto es bueno.
No sé qué tan bueno, cuando estamos viendo el ProTour más lento y más pasado caca en la historia. Y estamos caídos. Más encima nos estamos torturando porque estamos viendo Catwoman atrás.
Chip, estamos en vivo.
Seth no me baño Manfield. Contra Mark le gana este buen Jacobson.
¿Really?
Así fue, ¿no?
Sí, me ganó. Y...
¿Qué pasó?
que aparece como privado. Déjame ver.
Just inducted to the Hall of Fame, runner-up in the Player of the Year playoff on Friday, stand-up guy as well, regular content creator on tcgplayer.com, and this is a guy whose mind is just one of the most intricate and complex puzzle solvers in modern Magic. This guy's a genius.
Yeah, and look at this. So Seth Banfield kind of didn't have much there. He had the ideal start, of course. Llanowar Elf is one of the better cards that you want to have against control to try to slip a Planeswalker underneath the counter magic. But Mark Jacobson did have that Thought Erasure, and he only had that one Knight of Autumn. But it looks like he drew another 3-drop here.
Another Knight of Autumn as well. The Knights are coming out to play very appropriately indeed, as of course the Northern Hemisphere currently trapped in the autumnal hell of November, ladies and gentlemen. So it is very appropriate. But Thief of Sanity is a card I'm very excited to see more of in Standard.
Oh, and look at this. He actually found a Baffling End that he could use on a Knight of Autumn if he wants to.
Ya, estamos viendo otra partida, estamos en la ronda 11. Esta es la ronda 12. No, no rima con nada.
I'm sure if you played Guilds of Ravnica Limited and had this card,
tenemos otra vez más aquí a
Seth no me baño Manfield.
Bueno, gente, hoy día también les traemos Magic Arena Intermedio para
poder hacer alguna weá.
Sí, para poder salir de este mundo nefasto que en lo que se ha convertido el Magic. Ya.
In any case, right now it's doing the work here for Mark Jacobson. And this Dimir control deck is something that I'm hoping to see a lot more of. I'm really loving the blue base non-Teferi. I mean, I'll play
Vamos a compartir el video
innovative list, Grixis, Dimir, whatever,
para que la
what
gente
have
que
you.
quiera
It's exciting to see variants in these sub-archetypes.
Yeah, I definitely expected people to look to play Dimir as a way to fight some of the blue-white control decks, because the combination of having cheap, efficient hand disruption in both Duress and Thought Erasure, followed up by a Thief of Sanity, is a very, very good way to close out games against, you know, the expected powerful control decks in the field.
Llanowar Elf's rather anemic play here for Seth Manfield after his Knight of Autumn. He's met with back to Jacobson now, who is able to, well, start to pull further.
Vamos, Jacobson aforrando con el Thief of Identity, ¿se llama ese? No, Thief of Sanity. El fantasmita, el que se roba los cartones.
When I first saw Manfield start
Thief of Sanity
with this Selesnya deck, I was thinking, okay, here we go, Selesnya tokens, going to go wide and all that sort of stuff. But it's also a different color here for Manfield, with a much more mid-range list with big planeswalkers, Khan and Vivian.
Right. Yeah, he's actually. You know how when most people think of big mid-range decks, they kind of look to the Golgari mid-range deck, but it looks like Seth opted for the white strategy instead. You can be a little bit more proactive with cards like Dahlia and Adanto Vanguard.
And of course, Lyra Stormbringer as well, stolen by the Thief of Sanity, and Jacobson slams Baneslayer.
Lyra Downbringer.
That's a huge
y cartonazo para robarse ese. Listo, con cero.
En pocas palabras, a Manfield lo mató su propia
Lyra.
Y
hay que decir que Thief of Sanity, yo creo que 2 guates ya empieza a ser un poco abusivo.
Sí, Mark Jacobson un excelente jugador.
Por algo te ganó a ti.
Por algo me ganó, claro.
permanents back to their owners' control. And so all those creatures stolen by the
Así es más,
you get back.
hay que saber perder, y saber perder, y saber perder, y cuándo ganar.
Y a ese pasa un milagro y no gana.
That is just going to be about that for our 12th round coverage here at ProTour Guilds.
Puta que es mala Catwoman por la chucha.
Todavía no entiendo por qué este hueón BTL mientras estamos transmitiendo. Eso hueón es muy
no, porque esta hueá es súper entretenida.
Pero si ahora, por ejemplo, tú, ¿qué deberías estar haciendo?
Cuidando a mi hijo.
Diciéndome, oye hueón, por la hueá de Magic Arena y jugamos una partida de Magic Arena. ¿Te parece?
Bueno, dale.
Y... ¿jugamos Magic Arena?
Ya, vamos a seguir con el torneo en el que está. Aquí estoy tratando de armar un build de Dimir Control. ¿Qué tiene?
Porque te gusta hacerte esa weá, ¿cierto? Jugar
sí, porque me gusta hacerme esa weá.
Sí.
Ya, de los tipos de cartas del Magic, ¿cuál es el tipo más corneta?
¿El criatura?
Exactamente, por eso no me gusta. Son la weá más penca del Magic, las criaturas. ¿No estamos viendo todo esto?
Sí, pero...
¿alguien nos ve?
Vamos a revisar. Sí, hay una persona.
Vos, pues.
No, porque yo lo estoy viendo desde la weá misma. Hoy día lo estoy viendo desde...
No liga. Chuch, me toca perder. Aparentemente en Magic Arena determina cuando a alguien le toca ganar o perder y ahora me toca perder. Ya, fit. El otro también se moría en 5, hermoso. Gracias con tempo abajo. Necesitamos robar un pantano. O algo. Mono red más encima. Hermoso. Vamos, un pantano por amor a Cristo. La hueá fue porque le bajaste la resolución.
Sí.
Obviamente morían a 5 y salió como los dioses. Voy a proceder a perder porque me toca permanente.
Hay una controversia un minuto con el asunto de Arena.
Cada cierto tiempo le toca bueno.
Sí.
Nos digamos. No, mejor no echar este weón. No salve de alguna forma. Pass down. In your face. Puta, tenía otro weón. Otra teterita, como dice mi amigo aquí. No importa, vamos. Vamos, ganamos 2 vías. Nos mantenemos a flote. Vamos, que se puede. Bien, mierda. Nos vamos a forrar 2, aunque sea doloroso. Bien, vienen 2 tiros. No quiero robar primero. Voy a robar esta primero. Robo cartas. Se me olvidó. Detalle. Me fui un shock. Cuarta tierra. Fénix, mierda, y no tengo. Me pilló sin Brascas Content. Aquí tengo que hacer algo. ¿Puedo hacer algo? No puedo hacer mucho. Vamos a hacer survey, a ver si puedo pillar algo. Hermoso, ahí están todas las tierras que no robé. Otra tierra más.
Espera, que se cayó la transmisión.
¿Se cayó la transmisión?
Sí, dame un segundo. ¿Por qué se cayó? Okay.
Hey everyone, welcome back to the news desk. Rich and Maria here with you.
No,
A couple of draft
parece que...
stories from earlier in the day.
¿Qué?
The team of Snapcaster ex-MTG
Al volver a Arena no sé por qué se cae. Bueno.
6 of them, all
Ya,
6
déjame terminar porque si no van a...
exactly 4 and 4, the minimum record. So congratulations,
O sea, nos
Martin
vamos a estar
Day,
haciendo
Chris Larson and Simon Nielsen, all of whom won their draft pods this morning to get to 7 and 4. That was them in the top 8 of the team series as things are in progress. I thought 3 people on one team winning their draft, that's probably the best any team's done this morning. It isn't. Team Channel Fireball only had 4 people left standing today. But Mike Sigrist, Ben Stark, Luis Scott Vargas, Calavita Dama de Rosa, 12-0
no way.
in draft today.
Wow, get in on their limited meetings, huh?
Yeah, I wonder if there's anyone we could turn to for some further information about how they did that, Maria.
I think we just might be able to. He's got the luck, he's got the skill, he's got the victory. It's LSV with BDM.
Thanks, Maria. I'm here with ProTour Hall of Famer Luis Scott Vargas, one of 4 players on his team to 12-0 the draft this morning. If only there was some place I could listen to you talk about Limited, Luis.
Yeah, our last episode went up yesterday, so if you want to check out Limited Resources, by all means do so. I talked about the strategies we used, even.
So what was your plan coming into this day 2 draft? How do you like to tackle this format?
I think the most important part about Guild Ravnica draft is figuring out which guilds are open. The cards are all pretty powerful, and there's a lot of playables, so we've had drafts where you start 4 Dimir picks, but it's kind of drying up, and then you get a 5th pick like March of the Multitudes. It actually happened to a teammate, or Camaraderie, sorry. And they just completely switched. They just ended up drafting Celestia, and if the deck is open, it's open, and you want to end up there.
Okay, now I need help on something else with you. I don't know how to select my font when I'm reading your tweets.
Y Fénix me fue a 4 y quedan 2 y tenía un frente porque no me mataba.
You talk a lot about having the fire back. How serious is that? How hard are you going at this right now?
So it's kind of funny because I did not spend as much time testing for this Pro Tour as I have for past Pro Tours. But given the amount of time I have available, I spend a greater percentage of my time testing for it because, you know, between work, family, just like everything, you know, multiple different kinds of work, all of that, it means I don't have tons of time to devote, but I played almost all my free time testing for this Pro Tour. I did a lot of drafts and played a lot with Just Guide and then ended up playing in the Pro Tour.
So what deck did you end up bringing for Standard? How did you end up there?
Ended up playing mono white. We have red lands for sideboard cards, but we're basically mono white. And I don't know, Team CFP, we love our aggressive white decks. You know, you give Josh Adderley an excuse to put 20 planes in his deck, he will take it. And that's kind of where we ended up.
Treated those guys really well in 2011. I think it also treated you guys pretty well in Nagoya, too. So he's looking for a repeat here. We're going to try to get him up on the stage a little later to talk us through that deck. But right now, he's 10-2 at Pro Tour Guilds of Ravnica.
Thanks so much, BDM. Well, deck tech time now. We've got Mark Jacobson standing by. Tell us a little bit more about what he's playing.
Mark Jacobson. Tu amigo. Aquí.
Los chilenos.
Hi, welcome for another deck tech here with Mark Jacobson from Team Mass Drop MTG. This is a sweet deck you got for us, right?
Yeah.
Dimir, well, control might be a misnomer, but
mid-range.
Yeah. Dimir mid-range sounds about right. Okay, let's try to see if we can start getting your deck up here. Yeah, and we're gonna start with kind of this discard surveil suites. So looks like already a pretty good draft deck here.
Yeah.
But can you kind of explain? I mean, I think 4 Fodder Erasure is kind of the headline.
Básicamente
So the decks are interesting in that half the deck is trying to interfere with what the opponent's doing, and half the deck is trying to have a correct game plan. So card like Thought Erasure can mess up your opponent's curve,
¿Estamos transmitiendo arena o estamos transmitiendo
a
qué?
removal spell.
¿Qué estamos transmitiendo?
Arena y nos vemos nosotros, me
Right, this
imagino.
card reminds me of
Lo que
really
debería
old
estar
with like
pasando.
Castigate, another discard spell that's 2 colors, but I really like the Surveil 1 tacked on right here. Like, try to disrupt your opponent's plan while progressing your own. And here, like, I also like that you actually play both sides of Discovery Dispersal, unlike the Phoenix deck.
Yeah.
Like, how often do you do each mode, roughly?
I would say 75% or more we use Discovery.
Yeah.
Dispersal is an interesting tech against Carnage Tyrant. If we can empty their hand with something like Thought Erasure, Duress, Stiff Sympho, and they're empty-handed, they have to discard the Carnage Tyrant, which is return to their hand. And sometimes you can even ambush in combat if there's a Conclave Tribunal, make it return their hand. All of a sudden, a big creature's coming down and ambushing.
Right, and we're going to see some of those big creatures later, but first I want to move to the next slide. How can you deal with creatures?
¿Qué hijo?
You know, when I look at these lists, there's always like these strange 1-ofs, 2-ofs, and there's always a lot of work in this. So kind of try to explain the breakdown and what you're hoping for out of each of these cards.
Yeah, so the cool thing about having Forward Discovery is that it lets you really find all these powerful 1-ofs, cards that could be entirely dead in one matchup, but other matchups can completely change the game.
I mean, there were games, especially against White Weenie Red, where I was able to find my Golden Demise or Fungal Infection to really mop up, and that was a game changer, you know? Against Blue Red, against Yuya, I had to Fungal to gain a life and make a 1-1. And, you know, that's the risk, but when you play these powerful narrow cards and all these surveil and draw, you can find them and really get there.
Right, yeah, that was the thing we saw in this deck with those, you know, the 4 fodder raisers, the 4 discoveries, you can tune your draw. Obviously, free Wrath of Defend, I think one of the key cards, just because it exiles like a premier removal.
Yeah, being able to kill Planeswalkers is good because we have a lot of ways to handle creatures.
But I've been very impressed with Fungal Infection, especially out of the deck. Moving on to the next, we kind of ran out of removal through Cast Down. I don't want to spend too much time there. And we have this sweet, the Eldest Reborn.
Yeah.
2 dive down. This is not your typical control deck.
Yeah, so once we get to the next couple of slides, you'll see why we have the dive downs, but that goes into the half I was mentioning where we're trying to play a proactive game plan at the same time as interfering with our opponent. Obviously, Eldest Reborn, a lot of value in 1 card, and this deck particularly excels at being able to bring something back with all its mana on tap.
Right.
Such as coming up.
Right. Now we're going to see the creatures, and this is where the 2 dive downs make a lot of sense. This is why this is really a Dimir, like not almost a mid-range deck, but yeah, 4 Doom Whisper, big gigantic flyer, 4 Hostage Taker, way to control the board, take over, and 4 Thief of Sanity. Like,
yeah,
I really love this kind of mid-range presence. So, kind of talk us through these threats, what you're hoping out of them, like what are their specific roles, and there's obviously the little sweet tech there with the 1 block.
So the interesting thing about all 3 of these creatures is that they can all play their base player role. Sure. They're all creatures where if you play them on curve, if your opponent cannot use them, they're usually going to lose. So between playing many of them to overload your opponent's removal and playing all the discard and the protection, you can find a way to sort of single-handedly win the game with one of these creatures. You know, there were times Thief of Sanity was just going off turn after turn, and we saw in the most recent match, it found me a removal spell, so I wasn't going to get rid of it. The key was it found me a Lyra, which was lights out, so that was really cool.
Yeah, you talked about Baneslayer, so a Lyra, Dawnbringer,
Baneslayer found the Baneslayer.
Right. What's interesting, I think, with this creature suite is in a lot of situations you can draw a varied amount of cards. Like, you do control your draw, but sometimes you get more threats, and then your threats kind of act as a mini discard spell, right? You're like, well, I'm going to play this Hostage Taker, I'm not going to get removed, but then I play like Doom Whisper, and
sometimes you're just going to Hostage Taker as a tempo play, sometimes, you know, exile the key creature, or, you know, even like a Night Token. Sometimes you just want to play it out, especially if you're going to curve into something. And, you know, a lot of times when you play a Doom Whisper, if you've done a good job at controlling the board in the early game, you can use the life total that you have to find more threats.
Sure. Just to kind of, like, think about the play patterns a bit. Something like Doom Whisper, if you're facing read, is that something I should be concerned about? You do it with the discard spells.
Yeah, right? It's a little awkward. Having a Thief out first is really nice. Obviously, you're already in a good spot when it happens, but that means that if they Vivid your Doom, you still have exactly 2 damage. You only have the Doom Whisper, but maybe you've cleared the board, they Vivian you Eldest Reborn back. There's still play there.
I like getting Eldest Reborn, getting a Vivian read back. That sounds like a good tag team.
Alright, yeah, now this is a good one to bring back with Eldest Reborn because you just have all your mana. Yep, right away.
Yeah, that's a good point. Like, we're calling maybe God Pharaoh's Gift in a way. When you get to return this creature for free, that's probably.
Yeah,
usually. I mean, this is a very large field with 500 players, so I'd be surprised if someone at 12-4 makes it in this time, or more likely 12-3-1 to be the record. So really, that 4 lost is, you've had a good weekend. Okay.
All right, let's take a look at our feature matches for this round. All right, we've got a pretty good one on our table.
Bueno, vamos a tener que mamar igual
Mahara will be playing
la fumedad
de
estos peras de yo no sé por qué hablan estos weones.
Is it Drake's? So what do you make up, if you had to pick, which one are you going with?
I played Is It Drake's at the Grand Prix in New Jersey specifically because it's a deck that beats Golgari quite hard. That said, this is a different tournament. People are more aware of the Drake's deck, and the Golgari mid-range deck is very customizable. So this is really going to come down to who's really got the edge. But just generically matchup-wise, the Is It Drake's deck tends to be favored in that matchup.
A lot of other great matches in our feature match here. Brad Nelson versus Yuya Watanabe, Teijin Hao versus Michael Burnett, Guillaume Wafataba versus Shota Yasaoka.
Thanks. Okay, I'm off to go and see Guillaume Wafataba against Shota Yasaoka. Thanks, everyone. Bye.
Okay, bye, Rick.
Bye. Enjoy.
We're going to head down to the feature match area for round 13.
Hijo, siéntate. Si no te voy a ir a sacar. Siéntate, si no te voy a sacar.
Ya, a ver, vamos a ver si podemos arreglar un poquitito esto de la calidad del streaming.
Well, yes, indeed, my friends, as the people on the booth at the desk told you, we are going to be here for a while. Strap yourselves in, get comfortable. You're in the booth with me, Riley Knight, him, Paul Cheon, and Paul. We've got some big names lined up in the feature match here. They're ready to get underway, so let's not waste any more time. It's time for round number 13 of Pro Tour.
Bien, vamos a empezar la otra ronda, vamos.
Welcome to the feature match area here at Pro Tour Guilds of Ravnica. My name's Ronnie Knight, joined by Paul Channel from Wizards R&D. Good afternoon, Paul. Great to have you along.
Good to be here. I will say this. That was the fastest I've ever seen Rich Hagon run.
Yeah, I tell you what, we're going to have plenty of time to get to that one. We are not
Hicimos algo para que la calidad del video no baje.
Control matchup between Wafutapa and Yasuoka, but we are going to kick things off as a result with a game between Makihiro Mihara, excuse me, Japanese old school superstar from the last Samurai team you see on your screen there. He's playing Golgari mid-range, and his opponent,
Veamos qué está pasando.
well,
¿Nos ve
I
alguien?
heard of this guy.
¿Alguien se está uniendo?
One of the greatest, if not the greatest player of all time. May have fallen across the desk once or twice here, Paul, and he's on Is It Drake.
Epa, John Finkel.
In my mind, this is very much the matchup that
Algo
defines
hiciste, pero ahora se ve
This is a Drake fact.
Chop y la transmisión, pues no estáis viendo.
Popularity because of the existence of
sí.
Black
Cagó.
Electro.
Sí, pues bueno, no sé qué decir, qué mano metiste.
Grinds you out, plays a bunch of removal spells, and then just has kind of that late game inevitability. But you know what? Giving us a bunch of spot removal spells aren't quite heinous. And you can't just use a single removal spell to get that off the board. So this Isn't Drake's deck was kind of built to feast on the kind of dominance of this Black Green deck. So going in, I would say that the Isn't Drake's deck is favored, but Maki Fujihara also has to know that Isn't Drake's was one of the likely decks because
Ya no sé cómo.
I wanted to draw your attention to the legacy of these two players. Paul, I'm sure that this weekend we've got a lot
No, ya.
of new Magic players.
Tenemos problemas con el internet.
Picked up Arena, maybe jammed a couple of games of Standard. Welcome. At a time where Standard is well and truly at the top of the
Sube el
league.
guataje.
We've had a bit of touch and go with the health and diversity of Standard throughout this year, but we are right back on track.
yeah, absolutely. When people talk about how kind of the standard formats that are a bit more defined, I will have my friends come up to me and go like, dude, what's the deal? Come on, what are you going to do to fix standard?
Exactly.
So oftentimes, I will get the complaints, but on the other side, when they do feel like standard is fun and they enjoy it, they let me know as well. So I have received those positive feedbacks as well, especially with regards to this set, because the thing is, every guild is playable in standard. And we've seen that over the course of this tournament.
We have indeed, and Golgari and Izzet are certainly amongst the top of the pile here. Mihara on Golgari with a great value creature here with Jade Light Ranger. You see that play on turn 3 here after death. His
favorito Izzet Drake.
As I say, Paul, I want to talk about the legacy of these players because John Finkel, if you're not aware of John Finkel, let's talk. He's the Michael Jordan.
Yeah, John Finkel is the greatest Magic player of all time. Yes. He's the most accomplished. He's got a Hall of Fame career that if you splice it in half, that's just 2 Hall of Fame careers. Yes. You might even be able to splice it into 3.
To 3 questionable inclusions for sure.
Yes.
Finkel is, again, we're talking like Wayne Gretzky.
Right. Ese monito.
Makihiro Mihara,
Claro, ya no te gusta.
not even new to Magic, but even
ya no
in the last decade. They may not be aware of the legacy of this player. A player who was world champion in 2006.
Ruido de Cow, creo que se llama, una cosa así.
No, sí, cacho
one
con
of those
monito.
players, he's kind of part of that old guard. He's part of Team Final Last Samurai, which is a collection of many Japanese pros that maybe don't play full-time necessarily anymore, but several Hall of Famers on that squad. Mihara, yes.
Tiene un pote un poco más grande, podría llegar a bloquear algo simbólico.
It was really fun to watch him do that, and he kind of played when I kind of also played.
Creo que al final del día la pregunta es,
definitely consider one of the top tier
¿en
players.
Golgari necesitáis un acelerador o no?
I was a junior in high school.
El mazo juega a ser lento, a sobrevivir
Just
más que
a young ankle biter I was.
a tratar de ganar, weón. Eso es lo que mi
The pace of this
impresión.
game a little slower than what we have come to anticipate, but Finkel doing a good job of leveraging his removal to keep the board clear. We don't often see the Drake's deck adopting such a controlling posture, but now Arclight Phoenix is getting busy as well, so Finkel has really threaded the needle here.
Yeah, Finkel using maximized velocity and targeting Makihito Mihara's own creature to get that third spell onto the battlefield. To get that, to deal with that Arclight Phoenix. But one of the best cards against the Visit Drake's deck, Vivian Reed, as the -3 ability allows you to destroy an artifact, enchantment, or a flyer.
Yeah, creature with flying, and we don't often see green able to directly destroy creatures, but this is a little twist. And unfortunately for Mihara, oh sorry, I guess not unfortunately. I mean, he had.
Bueno, les pedimos disculpas igual porque la transmisión se cortó por un problema
He's
técnico.
going to go upstairs.
Tratamos de darnos de bacán y hacer dos weas al mismo
Yeah, so it looks like
tiempo.
Sí, no, lo que pasa es que estamos falta el técnico computador
Vivian Reed would go down to 2.
Claro.
It is just super likely that John Finkel will be able to get those 3 spells again
Así que
to kind of get
vamos a tener que
back
transmitir
onto the
Y
battlefield.
aquí va a bajar Kraken Drake y tiene el Maximized Velocity en el
Makihiro Mihara
cementerio.
looking to get a card instead,
Así
but
que
Kraken
se
Drake
deprisa.
maximized velocity in
¿Cuántas
the graveyard so
cartas
he can get this haste
Se
to
hace
get that
falta el
Vivian off the
Dadito,
battlefield.
weón.
This is bananas. We've
Más lo
seen
que
this
huellaron ayer
in
poniendo el dado y ahora no lo ponen.
GPs. We've seen this deck in the hands of Eduardo
Está quedando
Sanfilippo,
pelado,
Kana
sí,
Bushman's hands as well, a top 8 on both sides of the Atlantic pole, and the explosive power of
Makihito
maximized
Mihara.
velocity. I talked to Eduardo.
What's the
He said he just wanted, he always wanted to draw it. He just always wanted to draw it. If you slam it onto your Drake that's been freshly cast, that you can unload a ridiculous amount of damage.
Yeah, it has the ability to kind of basically win games out of nowhere, especially in matchups like this where the games are a bit grindy, right? So you guys are just kind of going over each other's threats, and at any point in the game, if this game goes on for a few more turns, John Finkel could easily get something like 10 to 12 spells in his graveyard. Then he draws an Enigma Drake or a Crackling Drake, uses maximized velocity, and kill. Makihito's at 12.
Yeah, and it can end the game in short order. And as you were saying, in grindy decks, often you get that one-turn breather. They deploy a massive threat. You've got to turn draw a card, untap your mana, maybe find an answer. But maximized velocity changes that, and we're seeing pull himself ahead. In getting that breather on the board. Although Raven's a great answer here.
Right. So when we talk about how the black-green deck has actually a lot of role, it's still very, very effective at dealing with Drakes. Maximized velocity, of course, a good way to answer, Chupacabra kills things at sorcery speed. So John Finkel does need to find another thread because Makihito Mihara might be able to muster John Finkel quickly, putting Makihito Mihara on a 4-turn clock with the Phoenix. But he needs to find another big threat because Mihara now is going to have a big board. He has multiple cards in his hand, and if he drops something like a Carnage Timer, he can swing the race back in his favor.
So when Radical Idea was first revealed to the world, I looked at it. I'm like, here we go. Oh wait, no. This is terrible.
It's no thing twice.
I was dialing your numbers into my phone, about to give you a piece of my mind. But then I realized with Goblin Electromancer in the business as well, we have really got a stew going here. And John Finkel is showing us exactly what this tasty brew looks like. Drawing 2 cards for 2 mana, discarding an excess land that you didn't need. And this is the power of the Electromancer. In multiples, it's not doing a huge amount in this list, but halving the cost of 2 drops is huge.
Right. I think Radical Idea is
extremely
important in this type of deck. And I've seen a lot of players actually just go for the full 4 copies of Radical Idea over, some of the 1-minute cantrips and even Tormenting Voice as a way to just kind of prevent yourself from getting flooded.
It just does everything the deck wants to do. It can because it is the speed, which is a nice bit of gravy, but the real thing is discarding cards.
¿Qué pasó entre medio? Porque yo hace un tiempo escuché Golgari, weón, es la cagada, no podéis no jugar Golgari.
Because both halves of the jumpstart, they count as individual spells for Arclight Phoenix. This card is to go hand in hand or hand in wing with Arclight Phoenix.
Yeah, and now given that John Finkel is down to just 1 card in hand, I think it is possible that Mihara looks to go for the minus spec. Nope, it looks like he still wants to go with the +1 here because it is less likely now that John Finkel can put together 3 spells to be able to return that Arclight Phoenix. And given that he's at 9, I would have thought that he would go for the minus, but it looks like he just wants to continue getting ahead on cards here.
He's going to try to weather the storm for just a little longer here. And Paul, this is a classic move from the Golgari mid-range list. A deck that is described as being value-oriented. Value is a kind of nebulous, vague concept when it comes to games of Magic, but maybe you can talk to some of the newer players that joined us today about what a value deck is trying to do.
So what a value deck is trying to do is basically play a bunch of cards that do something when it enters the battlefield or get you ahead on cards. Cards like Ravenous Chupacabra is a 2/2 body, which is a card, and when it enters battlefield, it removes a creature. So even when your opponent uses a spell to deal with the threat that you've played, you're still up a card ultimately. And when you fill up your deck with cards like that, eventually you're going to your opponent out.
And there are some cards that cover it. Best case scenario, you get a 2 for 1. But if you play it as a 2/2, kill an opposing creature, and then use it to chump block and save like 4 that's not a 2 for 1, but that's a 1.5 for 1, whatever. But that incremental slow, incremental advantage,
también está la cosa de que si la gasto y luego tierra,
hay
veces que mejor esperar asegurarse con los 3 hechizos en la mano.
And that's why we see Mihara with a list full of
Mihara encontró un Carnage Tyrant por mientras.
Planeswalkers, ongoing incremental advantage. That's what this value engine is
La
all about.
pregunta es, ¿irá a bajar el Chupacabra para matar el Fénix?
But he's looking to play a much more
Como
explosive.
Finkel está atacando a
And now
Vivian
Mihara is
Reed,
kind of in a different
aprovechará
position. If he
de
knew John Finkel's hand, which is
bajar
just
el
all
Carnage
lands,
Tyrant.
he would kind of be looking to deploy his aggressive threats quickly, but he still just needs to be really careful. He's currently sitting at 9 life, and as we've seen in the past, he is a deck that can't have some pretty explosive starts.
Perfect Branch Walker trades off Goblin Electric here, so Finkel on the defensive just a little bit, but it looks like the old Rabbit Tube's going to get across and get some damage. Finkel down to 18. Let's see what Mahara's next move is. As you can see, he's got plenty of business in hand, including the mighty Carnage Tyrant. I was expecting to see a lot more of the dinosaur this weekend. Been a little subdued so far.
Well, the thing with Carnage Tyrant is it really shines in the mirror and also against control decks, but it is pretty weak against other aggressive strategies. And I think going into the tournament, a lot of people expected White Weenie and Mono Red, of course. And when you do expect something like that, Carnage Tyrant might be up there.
Well, copy in hand ready to go with it by the look of things.
Yeah, and Mihara now has an interesting decision here. He has to figure out, does he want to just play Ravenous Chupacabra and J-Light Ranger here to put multiple threats on the battlefield, or does he just want to slam that Carnage Tyrant and just try to race John Finkel?
Let's see what he's done here. He has gone with the 7-6 here, so putting a lot of pressure on the American superstar, as we see now. Arclight Phoenix getting busy once again, going to knock Mihara down to 6, but he's feeling pretty confident. Finkel is just out of gas here.
Yeah, at this point, Mihara has just continued to pull further ahead on cards here. John Finkel just not finding, the radical ideas and the cantrip spells that he needs to find an additional win condition here.
One of the things that you need to keep in mind whenever you're playing against a red spell-based deck is what we call their reach potential, right? Reach is a concept in Magic that involves having burn spells pointed at your head. If you're on 6 and a deck can cast 2 lightning strikes, do 6 damage straight to your dome, that's called reach. The Drake's deck doesn't have a lot of reach. It doesn't play lightning strike typically. It doesn't play other cards that go to the face, and this means that it's easier to stabilize Paul at a lower life total.
Yeah. The only thing Mihara needs to be concerned about are shocks and additional copies of Arclight Phoenix. Those are the cards that he needs to be concerned about. So right now, he just wants to end the game as quickly as possible, and he's in a really good spot. He might want to just use the minus ability on Arclight Phoenix, and that's what he does.
Just to wrap things up well and truly, a Jade-Light Ranger as well. Reveals Khan on the top. Oh, Mihara not interested in Khan. He's going to pick up a Woodland Cemetery for the second floor here and plays it immediately. This one is a very, very tangled web here for Finkel to get himself out of. He finds his
there is a way. He needs to go Dispersal, put another Arclight Phoenix into his graveyard, find another cantrip spell, and then another cantrip spell after that.
Here's one.
Oh my goodness,
he's done it.
He can do it.
He needs one more spell, and he's going to slam across for 6 out of nowhere. John Finkel, the myth, the legend.
He needs
one of the top 2 cards has to be an instant or something. A big whiskey for number 1 off the top. It's a lava coil. It's a lava coil. It can burn one of the opponent's freezes.
Vuelven los dos Fénix y gano.
Two triggers of the Arclight Phoenix as he turns him into play. We're going to get two with
Y sería todo.
Bueno, es lo que hablábamos ayer. Es lo que hablábamos ayer. Que en el minuto en que ya hay todo perdido, los mazos que están ahora de repente salen del hoyo y hacen el trueque, weón.
Y John Finkel como si nada. Otro día en la oficina nomás.
Y vamos a entrar al nivel de quién
No,
se
si
empieza a abrir.
Tyran y la weá y el medio ejército ahí por el aire.
Hay que decir que tuvo ya dislocamiento anal, weón. Se abrió de una manera. La dilatación.
Tenía que encontrar un Fénix en ese Survey 2 para poder botarlo del cementerio. Ese fue el paso 1. Y lo estar arriba, lo roba.
Maybe potentially using a Vivian at one point to shoot down the Arclight Phoenix to
No llegaste
Al fin algo de emoción en el...
Hizo hasta llorar, weón.
Well, I tell you what, we're going to cool off a little bit here. We're going to have a break, my friends, and we'll be back with more action from ProTour.
Bueno, la gente que está viendo, si nos quiere mandar mensaje, todo bienvenido.
Le chupen la hasta...
Sí. Hasta que, no sé, lo que usted quiera. Pero ahora, como esencial, si quieren comentar, háblenos de qué les parece de los mazos que se están jugando ahora en estándar, que tienen esta como, no sé si es renacida triunfal o algo, así que llegan y dan vuelta a los partidos en una o dos robadas de cartas. Creo que es un buen tema como para
amenizar la tarde,
para ver qué opinan. ¿Qué mazos encuentran que son como estos? Lo que acaba de pasar, que en rigor fue un rajazo literalmente. Y ver, vamos a ver cómo van los chilenos igual. Como para ponerle una cuota de luz. Estamos en la ronda 13, ¿o no?
Voy a buscar algo para beber. ¿Usted quiere algo, señor?
Ya un vasito de día te agradezco. O de ice tea o lo que sea, pero con hielo, por favor.
Pero con hielo.
Bueno, en la ronda 12, Kaliski y Echeverría van 8-4. Con 24 puntos cada uno. Después lo sigue Daniel Vega con 19 puntos, Parot con 18 y Navas con 16. Navas por atrás. Bueno, son los 5 chilenos que pasaron al día 2 del Pro Tour, porque lamentablemente Darwin fue en salida. Se quedó en el día 1.
Welcome back to the feature match area here at ProTour Guilds of Ravnica, coming to you live from Atlanta, Georgia, USA. My name's Riley Knight, and it's my great pleasure to welcome back Paul Cheon into the booth here. Paul, we just saw John Finkel tear Makihiro Mihara to shreds out of nowhere and showcase the explosive potential of this Drake list. We're seeing you guys go through the process of sideboarding right now, but I want to talk about Arclight Phoenix. People kind of were a little slow to wake up to this card, the power of this card, but right now it is running the tables, not just in Standard, but in Modern as well.
Yeah, the thing with that card is when you first look at it, you're like, okay, well, how realistic is it for me in a normal deck?
Mihara mira como con una cierta cara de odio a Finkel.
Well, we're in a pretty unique standard environment where we do have
igual lo hubiese mirado por lo menos
cantrips and lots of
deck manipulation
to actually enable this stack. And you know, players have discovered a way to kind of fully harness the power of Arclight Phoenix to go with the other traits that you have access to. And of course, in Modern, anytime you can put a creature into play for free, somebody in Modern is going to figure out a way to put it into play.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it took a while for Hollow One to finally break through, but we saw it, and you know, I think we're going to see some place in Modern with Arclight Phoenix. But right now, all that we got on the agenda is Standard, my friends. We're very happy to bring you coverage of this wonderful format. It really has been totally crushing it at the moment.
Sí, hay que decir que cuando bajó y puso el llano para abajo con las tierras, eso ya no se puede hacer. No. Ahora hay como una forma espacial de distribución.
Bueno, hay pocas cartas que yo tanto como esa tierra culia.
Uniquely positioned very well right now. Not only does it synergize that you can ramp and play Finality on Druid of the Cal and have it live and wipe the board, but on top of that, White Weenie is very popular, which has a ton of 1-mana 2/1 creatures in its deck that it can block. It doesn't get shocked. And you also just use it to block a lot of the red creatures, like you said. So it kind of just has the metagame is just in a perfect spot right now, where even a card like Druid of the Cal, which you normally wouldn't expect to be a standard powerhouse, is being played right now.
We see Commander respected John Finkel dying to that Lava Core, but exile rather. That Lava Core, and a Wild Growth Walker. The Breakpoint, when I had a chat about this card, Makihita Mihara, and he's in against Izzy. That is a little puzzling to me, but I mean, this guy, he's on a whole new level. What are your thoughts?
Well, the thought process behind that is the fact that he just wants to have access to more life gain, because this Izzet Drake's deck kind of has the ability to deal a bunch of damage out of nowhere. So if you can get that Wild Growth Walker onto the battlefield and use that package in conjunction with cards like Jaylight Ranger and Merfolk Branch Walker, all of a sudden you can't just lose to John Finkel stringing together 3 perfect cards and kill you with 2 Arclight Phoenixes out of nowhere.
That's the other thing that I was doing during the break as well.
Look at this card.
A nice steaming bowl of my own words there, because I was talking about the lack of reach for the Izzet deck, but Finkel, well and truly, made me look like a silly sausage. But right now, he's the one that's looking a bit of a silly sausage here, as Mihara goes from strength to strength in attack here. With a Wild Growth Walker followed up by not only a Merfolk Branch Walker, but a Raptors Chipper Cover to clear the way. And Finkel is under an enormous amount of pressure.
Yeah, I mean, this is the pure power of a card like Llanowar. Llanowar on the play allows you to just put so much more pressure on your opponent, and when you're playing a slower deck, you know, it's really hard to come from behind. Your opponent goes Elf into Druid of the Cal into 2 more spells. And John Finkel is playing the version with Electromancer, meaning that it's extremely unlikely that he has Fiery Cannonade in his sideboard. He's probably going with the Entrancing Melody plan instead. And as a result, he can't use that to, you know, maybe deal with both the Chupacabra.
It's going to be much more difficult for him to take out the trash here, and that means that Mihara behind the army that he's assembled.
No ha llegado ningún mensaje. Coméntenos, ayer hablamos largo y tendido, sí, hay gente viendo. Ayer hablamos con gente largo y tendido, así que nos agrada que nos pregunten, que digan cosas, que nos agarren a chuchar, que nos digan...
Entrancing Melody al 1-3. Corta tu huevo.
Now, Finkel isn't going to be able to
y vamos a ser sinceros.
Nótese que la buena endereza la criatura porque eso sería un poco alto. Sí.
Yeah, Mihara he really just wants to put a giant creature on the battlefield here if he can. Gets it for 6. This is going to put John Finkel down to 4. So let's see if he has a decent follow-up here.
So Finkel, he's under a lot of pressure.
Look at this. Crackling Drake's not going to get it done.
The Ravenous Chipalooper. The Ravenous Chimichanga once again getting the job done for Mihara.
Ravenous Chimichanga.
Sí,
and look at this anemic beatdown
plan. Tiene comentarista en verdad que son unos
sacos.
Sí.
But I think they're going to go the distance. There's not much the Finkel can do.
Wizard realmente necesita contratar buenas que sepan de maíz.
He did bring in Fiery Cannonade out of his sideboard.
Nosotros no hacemos algo muy distinto, hueveamos, pero no estamos en la transmisión oficial.
Basically, frankly, it would just destroy Mihara's entire board. So does he have a Fiery Cannonade?
Chimichanga.
Off the top. He needs something very special. It's another opt.
Un sonido de óbito.
The Hall of Famer on the right of your screen.
Sí, es un
2 mana now. It might be another chart of course, but I mean on 4 life he's facing down. I mean, not particularly potent attackers, Paul, but they're going to get the job done this game.
Yeah, this is going to be really difficult. He's going to need to find multiple Arclight Phoenixes, but even then, I don't think that's enough.
Double shock off the top.
Double shock does keep him alive if he has a mountain.
No, but
he doesn't
have anything else, so we are going to go to game number 3 after Mihara. Misfits and Freaks gets the job done and gets himself across the line. Himself upon the greatest of all time. for that game.
Pero ahora parte fin.
These guys going to hit the sideboards once.
Sí, ahora se pone interesante la cosa.
And in the meantime, you get the chance to jump over to
esa es otra cosa que no habíamos tocado el tema. Hay muchos mazos que necesitan ganar el dado.
Control mirror here. Shoji Yasuoka, Guillaume Wafutapa. Paul Chion. This is game number 2.
Me imagino que aquí vamos a sufrir el mismo show de ayer, que la partida de Mihara y Finkel no va a partir hasta que terminemos de ver lo de Wafutapa con Yasuka, que es un problema bastante grande porque alarga mucho la ronda.
Exacto.
Porque allá parece que le agregan tiempo.
He plays, you know, you've seen creature decks in the
Mientras tanto
past.
estamos viendo Jack Reacher atrás.
Because a lot of decks will have
Peliculazo.
control decks. And
¿No te gusta Jack Reacher?
Guillaume Wafutapa opted to go with
No me gusta
Legion
tampoco,
Warboss
no sé
out of the
cómo
sideboard for this specific
un
matchup.
tipazo.
On top of that, he's got
¿Ya?
Niv
Está cagado la cabeza,
extremely
pero un
difficult to deal
tipazo.
with out of the deck because it cannot be countered.
And a lot of the, you know, and even if they've got that removal spell ready and waiting, you still
Bueno, la gente que quiere ser
off of your big dragon boy there. So, Wafutapa, it looks like has well and truly bamboozled his opponent.
Viva la cientología mierda.
Legion Warboss,
¿No?
really turning up the heat. Across
¿Ahí en México?
a big stack of damage.
¿Ya?
Five damage
Nos hospedamos en un hotel que está al frente del templo
de la cientología. Hay un templo de cientología en México.
Cards as well. I mean, I don't even know
Ahí
the
me hizo buen estar en Los
collection of
Ángeles,
cards
¿no?
that Shota can have here to be able to come back.
Ya, y
Let's
fuiste
have
a
a look
él.
and see what
O sea, lo veía
Fuiste a
todo el día.
rezarle a Sino.
Looks like we've got a Ral is a Viceroy here.
Fuiste a cerrar el cumpleaños de L. Ron
Pretty
Howard.
much in the face of the onslaught
El-
from Wafutapa here.
La ciudad de
And Sinister
Sino.
Sabotage is enough to wrap things up. Unbelievably, ladies and gentlemen, this round brought to you by M. Night Shyamalan because we
Sí, que
have
comenzó.
a twist in the tail. The control mirror has finished before the mid-range slugfest on our front table, but
¿Cuál es el
Guillaume
código postal de
Wafutapa
aquí?
with Jeskai control, he is representing.
75-50,
I thought we
509.
were still going to be on game
¿Por qué me
one,
lo
I'll be
sé?
honest.
Yep.
Because oftentimes what happens in the control matchups is you kind of run each other out of your threats because your decks are just both full of so much removal. But
Porque nos van a mandar el sobre
Wafutapa does
con-
have some super special tech where he is actually choosing
Con
to
el
make that
ultimate
Niv
box
visit, and that's
stopper.
probably what broke game one wide open.
Yeah, an uncounterable threat that immediately gains value, just overloading the
Lo va a
answers
mandar al
available
final.
to your opponent is a great spot to
Te
be
va a
in.
mandar a ti
I'm
directo.
really
Sí.
curious to see which control
Y
deck
claramente
plays.
la carta se va a pegar en
I
el
think
correo
that
y
things are definitely going to change once we hit
un
the
día voy
next
a
step.
aparecer con
Hello,
un
effect,
arma
knowledge,
fuego,
that
una
sort of thing,
chichilla.
Paul. But for now, is it Jeskai? Is it Grixis? Is it straight blue-white? These
¿Nos vas a
questions
viola?
are closer to being answered than ever before.
Yeah, everything is currently
That's
still
mine.
just up in the air. I think one of the weaknesses, I think one of the strengths of the Jeskai deck is the fact that it has good answers to kind of the aggressive swarm strategies that
Es el
both
problema de
white
otro.
and white. On the flip, yeah, with Deafening Clarion. On the flip side, it does struggle against a lot of kind of the campy countered heavy hitting cards that people have used to counter that, those
haces algo
strategies.
como eso,
Cards like Carnage Tyrant, cards like
solamente algo que
Fire
tengas que poder
are
hablar
cards that
contigo
people have
mismo.
played to kind
Ah,
of beat
que
the Jeskai
debo
decks.
decirte.
Meanwhile, if you play
Sí,
black,
siempre lo
you have
decía.
access to a very powerful hand disruption spell in
Oye, la
Thought Erasure,
gente,
which allows you to
no sé si- a lo
proactively
mejor no nos escuchamos
deal with those campy
porque
counters.
cuando les hablamos
And I agree with
no
what you're saying
contestan.
with what Jeskai weakness is, and
Si nos pueden corroborar que el audio está bien y que no estamos hablando por las puras, sería ideal.
Ah, pensé que sí que no estamos hablando de weas porque estáis cagados. Si estáis hablando de
No
weas.
hay que con las puras,
Ah, ya.
pero hablando de weas siempre.
You know, you're sort of robbing Peter to pay Paul.
Ya, po, que empiece la transmisión.
Que termina esta wea porque yo tengo que ir a sacar a mi cabro chico latina y yo tengo como 2 horas ahí, pues.
With the wide
Va a
open
estar como
nature
pasa,
of that.
weón.
En una hora más lo vamos a hacer ya.
And people understand how to
O sea,
attack
poder
the
sacar de
Jeskai
latina,
deck. That's when you
vamos a
might
hacer.
look for other color
Oh,
combinations like
cambio de
Dimir
pie.
or Grixis to be able to attack these aggressive decks.
And I think the point that we're making about the
Ya mierda.
diversity within sub-archetypes can really be extended across
Ay,
the
hicimos
entire format.
muy bien.
There's
Muy
no
bien.
consensus on the best build of Golgari. There's no consensus on the best
Acá
way to
nos
build your
nos
white
contesta
aggressive
Diego
decks. And we're gonna
Navarro.
see some pretty,
Ya,
some
¿qué
pretty
dice?
fascinating development in the coming
Dice
months.
que
with
está ok el audio.
especially
Ah, bueno.
after the
O sea, eso
Oh,
quiere
se
decir
fue
que no
de-
nos pescan ni para el huevo.
Claro, se
right
fue de
now,
durez.
Mihara with a G-Rest to kick things off.
One thing that I'll note is that
¿Es Durez la mejor carta estándar?
the black green
No.
deck just has
¿Cuál es?
incredible
Ni
sideboard
idea.
No,
against
Chubala. Durez es mejor que
for
Durez.
various black green mid-range strategies. I think game one, you're probably
Si tú me
fine
juegas un
50-50
Durez,
against
yo
most
tengo
of
un
the decks in
negro.
the field because you have a nice mix of
Si yo no juego turno 1 y vos no
and
juego nada,
threats.
te cago,
But
te está
after
con negro.
sideboard, you can really just have these really heavy hitters. Cards like Duress, one of just the best cards ever printed. Right. On top of, he's even got cards like Deathwatch Scavenger to eat away at the graveyard. And we even saw Wild Growth Walker do some work there to kind of give yourself that life buffer to make sure that you don't get burned out.
No. Testing the waters here. Sneaky, cheeky little attack from Electromancer. But Mihara is no fool. He's going to want his 1/3. Not sneaking through those points of damage now. And here we are seeing the power of Goblin Electromancer. 4 mana worth of spells cast off of 2 lands, Paul, and that is just huge. If you can chain your Shadow Course into Tormenting Voice into what have you, you're gaining huge mana advantage, much more so than a single Druid of the Counter.
Absolutely. That Goblin Electromancer has already generated 2 mana for John Finkel.
He's sculpted a much better hand as a result.
Igual Ranger arriba de la biblioteca.
Mira, Patricio Rocha nos pregunta, ¿qué piensan de Jeskai en estándar?
¿Jeskai Control?
Me imagino que sí, pero bueno, hablemos de las dos versiones.
¿Cuál es la otra?
Midrange.
Ah, ya. A mí me gusta Jeskai Control más que Jeskai Midrange.
Sí, yo siento que el Jeskai Midrange es como un bonus angel, pero con Teferi, con cosas así. No sé si cuaja
mucho, que sea necesario.
Pero desde mi opinión y creo que de la nuestra, Jeskai en este Pro Tour debería haber tenido más presencia.
Yo creo.
Más presencia. Y yo creo que es el único mazo.
O sea, honestamente, yo todavía sigo pensando hay mazos de mierda que no sé por qué lo juegan si no le ganan nunca a un Jeskai Contra, así como Serenia Tokens, no veo por qué, de dónde le puede llegar a ganar
o que mismo, hizo Drake, tampoco le gana.
¿Tú crees que no?
Ahí está. No, yo creo que no. Yo creo
que la única razón por la que Jeskai no es como el mazo es por la base maná que todavía tenemos. Y luego cuando estén todas las Choclan, y si todavía falta que salgan las cartas de Azorius, que pueden salir algún contra medio Barça, o alguna hueá para robar mejor, o algo para ganar vía y robar, o devolver criatura a la mano. Ahí yo creo que puede mejorar.
Yo creo que Jeskai se podría pelear con Golgari.
That one seems less likely.
Potentially less likely here.
El mejor mazo del formato.
Pero
desde mi percepción,
¿cuál es el mazo más sobrevalorado en este minuto?
¿Is it Drakes?
Pensando
que no están jugando monos en un tempo.
No, hay buenos jugando monos en un tempo.
Pero ¿cuántos quedan?
No importa, pero ¿cuál es el mazo más sobrevalorado?
Sí, yo creo que es mono en un tempo.
Yo creo que el más sobrevalorado es Celestia en cualquier de sus sabores. Sí, ya sea Tokens, Midrange. No, Celestia para mí es una mierda. Yo preferiría jugar mono green, Zombie y Corneta a jugar Celestia. Así de corto.
Pero yo creo que Jeskai Control es un súper buen mazo. Volvemos al mismo tema que conversábamos el otro día, de que jugar Control agota. Yo creo que eso es algo que hace que mucha gente no quiera jugar Control y se tire por mazos de criaturas más que de hechizos. Pero personalmente yo dije, yo estoy tratando de jugar Golgari, pero en algún minuto va a pasar que tire la esponja y agarre un Jeskai y lo juegue.
I imagine Finkel is going to look to use the Intransitality to deal with one of the creatures on the battlefield.
Importante es divertirse.
He could go for the Wild Growth Walker,
a Mihara le queda un Carnage Titan y un Assassin's Trophy.
The other Wild Growth Walker that was on top of his library, you kind of assume that Mihara is unlikely to have another explore card in hand. And if that's the case, do you want to
igual ha ganado Galete Vía, van 25
ya. On the battlefield?
3 mana mind control.
Right. Alternatively, you could also just deal the Branch Walker, because dealing a 3-power creature means that you could keep the J-Light Ranger as well. You can actually preserve
immediately, right? Yeah, of course it's going to be ready to block straight away, and of course only going to cost 2 mana.
Hay que decir que Game 2 y 3, Finkel también como que se le acabó. Se gastó la wea en el fin del Game 1 porque no ha robado un puto Fénix ni para salvar suyo.
Sí, no, porque se estaba viendo la punta de la nariz, porque en realidad no ha hecho
explosion in a sideboard, that would be nice.
That'd be huge, yeah. Just Bane Fire, Explosion, everything you can pull together here.
And I imagine there's also
¿Qué carta podría haber metido Finkel contra este mazo?
So he's going to steal the Wild Growth Rocker.
Esa jugada no es metido claramente, para robarse criaturas.
¿Qué tan relevante es robarse el Wild Growth? Solamente para que no... Ahí bajamos un Fénix pulso. Eso es un problema.
Ahí cuando te das cuenta que el Fénix se corneta cuando hay que bajarlo de la mano.
¿Y por qué no atacó el Fénix? ¿No tiene piso?
Sí. Y ahora va a matar a este bueno y que te da todo el ejército enfrente del bueno. Y el problema es que el otro bueno tiene un Assassin Trophy, así que si Finkel llega a tirar el ejército mal enfrente del Carnage Tyrant, le puede salir carozo.
Le puede morir todo. El asunto es que está 25 vidas
contra 12, no puede aguantar muchos guates más tampoco.
O sea, el rigor puede aguantar uno.
Yeah, I mean,
Es que
Finkel, I
también
guess,
tiene otras
just
criaturas al
has
lado,
a
hermano.
ragtag
No, por eso,
army of
puede aguantar
creatures
solo
here
uno.
that he's going to
Uno del
use
Carnage
to
Tyrant.
block that Carnage Tyrant, and he probably
No, hablo de
wants
que
to set up a block where he can still
puede
beat
el primer
these
ataque
singular
cuando,
removal
o sea,
spells that Mihara might
yo creo que
have.
está medio jodido. Porque cuando lo ataquen va a tener que bloquear con todo al Carnage Tyrant y aún así le va a costar caro porque el trophy que está en la mano claramente va a hacer de la suya, a menos que nos sorprendan con un Dive Down.
Chupacabra.
Is really going to turn the screws on Finkel here. What can he do
Ahí
to
tiene
get
tierra.
himself back into this now that the 7/6 is completely dominating the board?
Now Mihara just has a good attack with all of his creatures. He's going to keep the Druid of the Cowl back to keep up that Assassin's Trophy. And John Finkel in really tough situation
Mate,
here.
he is between a rock and a
Bueno,
hard
por los
place here
ciertos que
because
está haciendo
the
Finkel, creo
7/6
que está
Trampler
medio
demands
cagado.
an answer.
I think he's
Super
going to have
cagado.
to put all 4 of his creatures in
He
front
has
of
to.
Carnage Tyrant because he has to kind of expect the Assassin's Trophy. Now, if he does get trophied, he will still be able to deal with that Carnage Tyrant. 1 damage will trample over, and it'll take a total of 7 from the other creatures, which would put him down to 4.
No lo hagas.
No, John. No.
No tiene
no,
para pagar el todo. Ah, sí, tiene para pagar el
This is
todo.
going to be really bad.
This is gonna be,
Aquí
ladies and gentlemen, if you
está
have small
Loli
children,
Finkel, a no
please
ser que
have
tenga
a look
algún
away
truco
now
en la mano,
because there
pero
is going to be
aquí se ve de Assassin's Trophy a un Electromancer y esto fue buenas noches.
Assassin's Trophy, and John Finkel is put into the ground. He finds a basic
Esto fue ya
land,
un
but
pisotear de la cabeza.
ferocious 3-for-1 now, and he's taking even more damage.
And so the reasoning behind why John Finkel did this, even though he was maybe 70% certain that Mihara might have that removal spell there is, he wants to put himself in a position to win. And in order for him to put himself in a position to win, he needs to make the block that kind of cleans up Mihara's board as efficiently as possible. And that
Ay, Patricio Rocha nos pregunta, ¿usarían Star of Extinction en Jeskai?
And, you know, Mihara's
Buena pregunta. Yo tengo que decir que la primera vez que vi la carta,
Ya.
dije esta va a ser una mierda. Pero después de una situación en la que lo tentó contra nuestro amigo Juan Solo, que le maté como 2 Planewalker y 2 monos más, le limpié la mesa por 7 maná. Puta, sí, creo que contra Colgari una súper buena carta. Bueno, no le metería 4, pero 1 o 2 quizás sí. ¿Vos qué opinas de Star of Extinction?
Me gusta, pero también me pasa lo mismo. Me gusta como por una o por
Sí,
no más. Yo, por ejemplo, Camilo, como yo comenté el otro día, estaba jugando una main y creo que con el Cyber. Igual es tentador, pero no sé qué tanto quiero jugar eso en la mano inicial.
Juega una y una cosa así, para meter la segunda contra Golgari. Pero por ejemplo,
but of course, this again is another list where we see a lot of internal dissimilarity in the way that there's a lot of internal variance.
Yeah, Michael Burnett actually playing a white weenie deck with Sacred Foundry and Clifftop Retreat. However, no red cards in the main, much like the list that we've seen from Channel Fireball. Basically looking to put red cards in the sideboard and just keeping his list consistent. However, Taejin Hao does play the Heroic Reinforcements. But, you know, ultimately, most of the cards are very similar. Basically, you're trying to do the similar things, very cheap curve. And,
ultimately, however, Taejin Hao outclassed by the card quality. You know, he had an army of Hawks and Falcons and all that sort of stuff. And Michael Burnett able to harness the power of
Llamó el abuelo. Nada, están viendo la cuestión de la transmisión que no se quiere. Tiene que entender que estamos transmitiendo. Y bueno, nos dijo que se tenía algún problema el audio, eso es verdad. No sé, toda la gente lo escucha bien o hay alguien que escucha mal. O a la hora hay que comprarle un teléfono o un audífono porque un tatita. Si nos pueden ayudar con eso respondiendo, se lo agradecería.
Bueno, tu opinión de esta conversación.
Me agrada el cartón. Yo jugaría por
uno bien y uno en el sideboard.
Sí.
Igual hay matchup contra los que es malo.
O sea, si de partida si juego 3, tengo una probabilidad bastante alta de robarlo en la mano inicial, que es una carta como la que por eso soy la idea de jugar uno o en main, uno afuera y jugar los 4 Chemistry Inside. Pero la lista no caían. Caían por uno o por dos.
¿Qué opinas del Azor Gateway?
Que es extremadamente difícil dar la vuelta.
Ya, pero cuando hay vuelta ganáis finalmente.
Por un
Fire o Explosion.
Fire sí. Explosion no.
También.
No sé si ganáis. O sea, claro, lo bueno es que en rigor podéis generar y quedarte con todo tu mana abierto. Eso sí es algo relevante.
Muy bueno, 5 par de arte.
Juegan 5 par de 5 par bueno.
Un 5 par bueno, un 5 par transformado en contra-spell.
Claro. Sí, me llama la atención. Yo creo que voy a armar un Jeskai Control para probarlo.
¿En Arena?
No.
Nótese que ojalá pronto venga la actualización de Arena donde se pueda jugar con la gente, en la que la gente pueda jugar con nosotros.
Ah, espérate. Les voy a comentar eso. Yo el otro día vi que Lautaro, no sé si todo el mundo lo conocerá, pero Lautaro, que ha sido jugador de muy bien, comentó que había una fecha.
¿Ya?
No sé de dónde habrá sacado en la fecha, pero tenía una sorpresa.
Se escucha pésimo ahora, dice Patricio Rocha.
Se escucha pésimo. ¿Y cuál es el problema? ¿Qué es lo que se escucha mal? ¿Nos pueden decir para poder ver arreglar? Porque nosotros... A ver. Aquí dice Lautaro, próximo jueves 15 de noviembre va a estar disponible el Versus Amigos en Magic Arena.
¿Qué le ha pasado? Eso pasa por no traer el micrófono. Como diría, ¿por qué no trajiste el micrófono?
Vamos a ver ahí si se escucha. seguimos con problemas.
Welcome back to the news desk. Marie Bartholdi, Eduardo Satchville, Brian David Marshall, and one of the greatest to ever play the game, Kai Bude. And BDM, we're going to talk about an amazing game from round 6 in this Pro Tour.
Yeah, absolutely. Everybody was talking about this. Kai, let's hear from you what was going on through your head. Let's play the match from the moment where time is called. I think we'll hear the commentators mentioning that as we go. And, you'll walk us through what was going into this decision. It was more than just maybe just the margin play. Here we hear them. And, time has been called. 5 turns. You only have 5 turns left. Kai, what's going on here as you block this object?
Yeah, so my objective in this game is to win. Both Stephanie could have easily played for the draw here for several turns. Time was running out. We were both low on resources. But we have 3-2 in the ProTour. The draw is really bad in this spot. We wanted to avoid that. Now, in a normal game, I would have just used my elf to use Buster's content on his Karn. But the problem is, the only way I can win this game is if he taps his creatures to attack. Because he doesn't have much power in his lane, and I have Buster's content, so I have life gain. But if he just jump blocks with his 1-1, I'm just not going to be able to win the game. Now, I think that we planned on that turn, yeah. So, obviously, I had to kill the Lyra, because the Lyra connect, the game is over. But now, I couldn't attack him, because if I attack him, he just goes to 4, -2 his Karn again, which bumps his other construct to power 2, and then I'm dead, because I'm on 3. So I actually had to attack the Karn here, and then, well, he was obviously going to take that damage, and then the only way I was going to win this game is if Seth is tapping his creatures to attack, because I couldn't draw enough removal spells with my remaining draw step to remove all his blockers. So my only chance was to convince Seth to attack, which he ended up doing, which again was motivated by him also not wanting the draw. Again, if he were 9-2, he would have both happily taken the draw, but at 3-2 you just don't want to. Guy there. Then he has 2 1-1s left. I believe I knew about the Lenovo of an attack. I'm not entirely positive.
Ya, a ver, vamos a ver si es que ahí
Again, I'm on 3.
funciona.
He killed me with another Karn, but that seems an acceptable risk at that point. But I'm pretty sure the last turn.
Sigue siendo, no sé si el problema es la transmisión o no.
I haven't had a good opportunity to pass the read in this game. Just running Lyra into that is not working. And if it goes Karn -2, you can't.
Parece que el micrófono esté con algún drama.
So yeah, so he got Karn, he went. I was hoping that the time was exactly what he wanted to play. Didn't indeed. I don't have to play a reflex on the board, so checking out that he doesn't want to do anything, just saw this. But that's why I didn't really set the Karn before. Sure, the Karn is going to win the long game, but we're not playing a long game yet. We are in turns, we have 3 more attack steps. He can draw some cards with the Karn, but I'm just trying to win somehow.
Pero abuelo llama. Quizás sepa qué pasó, quizás nos pueda solucionar el problema.
If you were in a longer game, Steph could have deployed the game where you just stay back and take it over, but you can see that Steph's attacking right for that reason, the extra turn.
Yeah, he has 2 flamethrowers in his hand, and he cast the Leno of his deck, because I'm on 1 life. That's the huge thing that this game plays another it was arguably the wrong choice. I should have taken the land and just make it look like I whiffed. Because the problem is, with the Bronzodon in play and one of his creatures being an artifact creature, by not attacking and casting the Bronzodon, I'm in a position where he needs a removal or redraw. Because I can block his 2 land wells and then sacrifice my Bronzodon to kill his artifact creature. So I wouldn't be taking any damage. So now, just playing a land, attacking and casting without casting the Bronzodon, I'm kind of telegraphing that I have something in my hand. It's not going to be cast down, because if I had a cast down, I would have cast my Bronzodon. Why not? I mean, so I'm either telegraphing a bluff, or I have a Vraska's Contempt in my hand. The thing was that I cast the Vraska's Contempt already before, and I think I explored into it. Like, Tess was aware of one Vraska's Contempt being in my hand, and I used it. So I think he just thought I was bluffing and trying to get a win somehow. That's why he attacked.
But an interesting decision here on his attack. He can attack with 1, 2, 3, or even 0 creatures.
Que nos confirmen los del chat si pueden.
Yeah, I thought his attack was a little bit strange because I think
Ahora voy a aprovechar de postear mi...
No, ahí sí ya se solucionó.
Vamos a postear un par de subastas en los grupos de Mike. No, sí, bueno, tal vez.
Bueno, le pedimos disculpas, al parecer algo pasó con
la cámara de mierda esta que compró este bueno.
Que dejó de básicamente de procesar bien el audio, no sé por qué. Así que hubo que conectarla y volverla a conectar. Pero ya estamos en vivo de nuevo. Ah, dicen que se escucha muy bajo. A ver, vamos a...
Juan Carlos, solucionan los problemas, hombre.
Y ahí nos escuchamos bien, ¿se escucha ya fuerte o lo que se escucha muy bajo es...
Siento como se hunde.
Es lo del ProTour.
At least that's how I was playing this game. Yeah. I was playing this game to generate a winner. I mean, obviously I was hoping it was me, but like, sure, both of us could have decided
Ahí sí ves.
earlier that, okay, this is it, this is probably just a draw, let's play for a draw.
And I remember sitting up here watching this match with you, and we were just sitting here just biting our nails.
Well, yeah, I was in the booth, for me that was an unreal moment, just realizing that moment with the contempt and knowing that both of you were going to...
Bueno, y una vez más vamos a estar en este como especie de lag que tenemos con la ronda. Y vamos a ver si es que...
Sí, hijito. No. Le voy a comprar una galletita, ¿ya? ¿Voy a bajar?
Vamos a ver un Starbucks aquí para poder amenizar la tarde, y aquí estamos con la raja cuadrada viendo esta cuestión.
¿Cuántas rondas quedan?
Si no me equivoco, hasta la 13, por lo tanto vamos hasta la 16.
Sí, no sé si hoy día duremos hasta tanto.
¿Por qué?
Que no me da el ánimo.
Pues si son recién un cuarto para las 6, faltan 8 rondas.
Ya. A diferencia tuya, yo tengo compromisos familiares. Ah, no puedo pasar tiempo con mi familia. Tengo que pasar tiempo con vos. No estoy ni bonito, culiao. Afeítate esa barba de mierda, por favor, weón. Me perturba esta weá.
No voy a pedir Uber Eats. Ah, conche tu madre.
Parecís talibán, weón. Te deberían haber dejado en Guantánamo, weón. A todo esto, mientras solucionamos la weá del audio, ¿respondimos lo de Star of Extinction al final? ¿En qué quedamos?
Ah, sí, yo jugaría dos, una adentro y una en el main. O sea, una en el side.
Una adentro y una en el main. Bien campeón. Ya, yo también, yo estoy de acuerdo. Yo creo que jugar una y una es lo adecuado porque hay mazos contra los que es muy buena.
Sí,
hay mazos contra los que es como el pico.
Como el neperepe.
Como por ejemplo yo creo el mirror. En Mirror yo creo que es bien coja, porque igual, o sea, la mejor tierra que podría llegar a pillar es como unas cantas a vuelta. Pero igual un hechizo coste 7 que con 5 par de 1 se puede ir contrarrestado, entonces como...
¿Sí?
Ya, yo tengo otra pregunta.
¿Cuál? Lanza.
Considerando que los dos mazos están todavía medio cojos, no medio, están cojos todavía en la base mana, ¿eh? ¿Y Sky o Esper?
Sky.
¿Por qué?
Porque creo que tiene mejores ramos del masivo.
¿No?
Sí.
Ah, por la parte...
Claro.
Ya, pero... Ese es un hechizo rojo-blanco. En Esper igual puedo jugar los removals blancos que son Cleansing Nova y...
Sí, pero la diferencia está en que tengo un masivo turno 3.
¿Ya?
Efectivo.
El negro tiene un masivo turno 4 que es más efectivo.
No es más efectivo.
Sí. El Deafening Clarion. ¿Se pelea el 5-4?
De hecho, en ese mazo sí.
¿Por qué?
Porque lo copian.
Ah, pero Juan estamos diciendo el turno 3.
No lo hace.
Ya.
Pero a lo que voy yo es que, por ejemplo, el hechizo se potencia.
Sí.
¿Cachai? O sea, al turno 3 tenemos algo que va a remover todo lo que va aquí al turno 3. Y a turno 5 podéis remover un Carnage Tyrant, ¿cachai?
Deafening Clarion tampoco se pelea el Tempest Jig.
¿Ya?
El Ritual of Sud sí.
Sí, pero que voy al hecho de que los monitos tan puntuales
Con Petty.
los podéis matar de otra
Con
manera.
negro tenía acceso a descarte.
Sí.
Lo cual no deja de ser relevante.
Sí, pero relevante contra quién? Contra Control.
Sí. Da una ventaja.
Sí, pero contra los mazos que necesitáis pelear, por ejemplo, ¿qué es lo que pasa contra Celestia Tokens? El mazo es un mazo con neta. Pero si te rompen todo y en un minuto dado, en el fin, te cuelan una marcha,
¿Ya?
fuiste bueno. Porque si te cuelan la marcha, porque
¿Ya?
porque tampoco le vas a sacar todas las tierras que tiene el mazo para dársela al weón. ¿Cachai? Tenés que pensarla para tirar un settle.
Settle de 6 es como medio cojo.
¿Cachai? El settle es súper bueno cuando de verdad paráis la mano.
Para, estos weones no acaban de estar hace una ronda atrás hablando los mismos 3 weones. O estoy imaginándome weón. Estaban los mismos 3.
Sí, puede ser.
Sí, su madre. Así que tú prefieres Sky a Esper.
Sí. Eso creo que acabamos.
Para mí es peludo. Me gusta el acceso a descarte.
Standard and limited, you're like, no, keep me away from limited. So for you, it's a totally different story.
I mean, yeah, I think it is a huge difference,
Or is that just preparation?
Just preparation-wise, like I do enjoy playing limited. You know, don't get me wrong, but I really like playing formats that are constructed and knowing that these are the specific amount of cards that my opponent could have with a little bit of deviation for, you know, text out cards for the certain matchups. There's usually a certain set of things that I have to play around.
Ya, te dio la wea.
No,
igual que ya.
That I have to play around than in like Legacy or, you know, or any of those formats that have lost.
Modern.
You're missing out on the experience. Part of the one I turned with you. Is just a minutia of the experience. Have you ever
¿Alguna otra pregunta?
Déjame revisar porque he estado viendo la cuestión y no me... Ah, Patricio Rocha dice Cleansing Nova o Settle the Breakage. Yo creo que
ambos.
No es una decisión.
No. Ambos.
Personalmente yo jugaría 4 Settle y 2 Cleansing Nova.
4 Settle.
Bueno, ya, lo que juega normalmente la gente. 2 Cleansing Nova y 3 Settle. A mí me gusta.
Yo creo que eso sí, la combinación de las dos cartas hay que ajustarla dependiendo de lo que uno espere en el torneo al que va a ir. Pero sí, no es una cosa de una o la otra. Tiene que ser las
Sí,
dos.
son las dos. Y definen Clarion también.
¿Cuatro?
Sí, bueno.
Chuch.
Es un súper buen removal por 3.
Sí, pero bueno. Es que también tienes que pensar que si tú esperas que en tu meta local llegue más gente jugando y Sky, no voy a tener tantas cartas muertas tampoco, porque en el mirror esas 3 cartas que acabamos de mencionar son muertas.
Sí, pero aquí no se juega tanto contra.
No, acá no se juega tanto contra. Bueno, yo no llevo mucho los últimos PvTQ, porque he ido más. No sé qué es lo que estaba jugando la gente.
Increíblemente, Boros Angel, y Sky Midrange. Hay algunos pocos que están jugando y Sky Control, Volgari. Bueno,
puta, en un meta así yo creo que sí jugaría 4 definitivamente.
Y Celernia yo no vi. Por lo menos yo no me lo he topado.
¿Y Mir tampoco?
No. O sea, me topé hace tiempo, pero cambió. Mono Blue, bueno, el Faraón ganó con Mono Blue el otro día en...
¿Quién?
Faraón.
¿Quién Faraón?
Faraón.
¿Koala?
No, ¿cómo va a ser Koala?
No sé, pues bueno.
Koala ganó en Magic Sur.
Ah, sí. ¿Qué estaba jugando Koala?
En Warpe. ¿Ah?
¿Qué estaba jugando Koala?
Creo que Jesper.
And deciding, you know what, well, we couldn't quite reach a conclusion. But yeah, 12 wins is kind of where you start thinking about being in top 8 contention.
Bueno, Faraón es un vecino mío.
Potentially one more.
Vive cerca de mi casa, así que saludos para él, Nicolás Huerta. Vamos a terminar de hacer el pedido.
And that means that Michael Kundaraba, Teruya Kakurai, and Thiago Casasanta at 9-3 and 1. He is the last person standing. Forget the 9.
¿Quería algo tú?
Even at 12 and 4.
¿De qué? ¿De Starbucks?
Sí.
To the top 8, so
¿Qué quería?
20
Carmen Maquiato.
need to become 8
¿Y el de
in
dulce?
the next few hours.
Brownie,
Let's get into it then. Round 14 of Pro Tour Guilds of Ravnica starting right
El
now.
James querrá algo.
Ahí está la galletita ahí. Así,
¿Sí? Ya.
Welcome back to the booth, ladies and gentlemen. Here at ProTour Guilds of Ravnica. Riley Knight joined by Paul Chan from Wizards R&D, and we are drawing ever closer, my friends. The march towards the top 8 continues. As you heard, 23 wins.
Y ahí pedí la cuestión.
We have a potential candidate for the top 8 in the beach match area series ready to go, champion at the bid. So
Oye, que seguimos la misma temática. Qué mal el asunto de que el ProTour ahora tenga como tanto material entre medio que no aporta, weón. En cuanto a la transmisión, creo que sí. Porque no sé si te fijaste que antes no esperaron que terminara el otro match para volver con el de Finkel. Porque se alargó mucho ayer. Fue muy largo, weón. A mí eso me superó. No sé qué es lo que le ha parecido a la gente en la transmisión del Pro Tour, más allá de lo que nosotros estemos haciendo, porque nosotros es como una anécdota para tratar de compartir con ustedes el Pro Tour en sí y ir comentándolo, pero la transmisión del Pro Tour ha dejado harto que decir. Porque,
¿queréis que diga la verdad?
¿Qué?
Deafening Clarion. If anything, he
Tú te dices esa guay y se va.
if he knows that Luis Vargas is on red white aggro.
Pues no sé cuál es la verdad ahora.
Yo voy a decir la verdad. Vuelvo al tío. La verdad es que para este tipo de weá, Wizards of the Coast, o de Corneta Coast, porque ya no tengo otra forma de decirlo, contratan a sarte saco weas que se ven lindos en cámara y no tienen pico idea de lo que están hablando. Ese es el problema. One es de verdad para comentarlo.
A mí, más allá de esa weá, me perturba un hecho súper simple.
¿Cuál?
el estar viendo tu partida
Yo sé, contra mono largo, mira la wea.
estar viendo partidos grabados entre medio para la espera era excelente. Lo estaban haciendo en los GP, lo habían hecho en el ProTour anterior. Porque ahora no, weón. Porque
Por
ahora
último tener Tactics entre medio. What de Mai?
bueno, no tenemos los puzzlecitos que salían. Sí. No tenemos los puzzlecitos que salían, no tenemos los first pick, no tenemos los keep on mulligan. No hay nada de eso, man. Que son cosas que igual uno podría debatir, conversar, aplicar algo de
todo el rato mostrando los teams, los integrantes de los teams. Bueno, ¿a quién le importa esa wea? ¿Qué pasó?
Porque no estamos viendo el...
So that's a huge piece of work from Scott Vargas getting himself back into the game.
Wilder Blanco, mucho enemigo aquí.
And as I said, the family reunion topped off by big grandpapa Benalish Marshall getting it down Australia's noble steed there. We'll see what else Scott Vargas has got to do here. Is it another Benalish as well? So an attack
ahora el problema es que se salvan del clan.
We put Mock right back in this thanks to
es un problema. Se protegen mutuamente.
Pero con una tierra más
se van de Cleansing Nova
y se van de Cleansing Nova o con Clarín copiado o un Justice Strike y un Clarion.
Justice Strike. Qué bueno que sale esa carta. Tu opinión de Justice Strike.
Una carta bastante coja.
También opino lo mismo.
¿Por qué? Es buena, es súper buena carta, porque por 2 maná te puedes
Chucha,
sacar
cómo hacer la wea. Una carta bastante coja, pero es súper buena la wea.
¿Me puedo hablar?
¿Va a empezar?
¿Puedo o no puedo?
Va a empezar. Estoy canalizando a
la carta es buena porque puede sacarse criaturas como un Galta o criaturas que escapan de rango por 2 maná. El problema es que la cantidad de criaturas culonas que hay en el formato, dícese de tener más resistencia que fuerza, es enorme, enorme.
Dime 3.
El Warworld Walker, el Fito culeado 1-3 corneta.
Ya, van 2. Dime 8.
A ver, el 1-2 que vuela que hace Solvay cada vez que ataca.
Esa weá ni se juega, weón. Ya, ok, ya. Dime 2 más.
A ver.
Into Revitalize or Justice Strike. That would be
vamos a revisar, pero sé que sonar.
But keep in mind, Louis, we do know that Luis does have that Pride of Conquest in hand.
No me dejes en ridículo. Ahora se me fue el internet.
Un Crackling Drake cuando hay menos de 4 instantáneos con en el cementerio.
Scott Vargas has just outclassed him at every turn. A masterful rallying from the
el mono 1-2 con explorar negro.
También, pero también un monito también.
Pero puede ser que sea necesario matarlo.
Bueno, y aparte que hay criaturas,
Scott Vargas.
Que hay criaturas relevantes que si no tienen, pero tienen muchos hits. Van a estar en la yegua. Está el Null High Ferox.
Está pierde el Hex.
Sí.
Y el Fiery Justice lo mata. No, el Justice Strike. Sí. El Blaster Contem lo mata por 6. No, yo creo que la carta es media coja, pero es un mal necesario.
Sí, o sea que lo que pasa
es que 4.
No. Pero pasa esta sensación de que la carta no sirve en todo minuto y eso es complicado. ¿Por qué promocionan los PPTQ si los
PPTQ ya se acabaron?
Se acabaron, pues. Y de Sani sigue primero con 11-1-1.
¿Qué pasó, hijito? Mira cómo tiene. No, dice la cosa porque mira, tiene todo mojado. No puede hacer afuera. Está adentro, pero es como que le baña bajo el agua. ¿Por qué no te lo bañaría? Sí. Pero no sé esto que quiero hacer. Quiero salir. Algo que no sea comida. Bueno, ahí están mostrando el standing de la ronda 13, pero no tenemos acceso a ver el standing completo por internet. Eso es. Gracias, Wizard. Y tampoco le como con agua, ¿cierto? Claro. Y ahí por fin volvemos después de los comerciales.
Of this Pro Tour as we make our way slowly but surely towards the top 8 cut at the end of today's play. Luis Scott Vargas in the feature match area alongside his opponent Wilson Mock. Mock took a loss in game number 1 after a rough mulligan of 5. A brief rally with a deafening firing was not enough to forestall the inevitable victory from Luis Scott Vargas. And in the meantime, while these players are shuffling up and getting ready, we can move back to one of our back tables and have a look. Look at this. Very much the old versus the new, Paul. The current world champion in Javier Dominguez versus Mr.
Ahí están jugando.
¿Quién está jugando?
Javier Domínguez y Mihara.
And it looks like, I don't know what chapter of Eldest Reborn, it looks like 3 is happening here.
Yeah, we may be seeing Makihito Mihara plundering and pillaging the graveyards here as the Ravenous Chupacabra comes down, takes care of a Midnight Reaper. We haven't seen a lot of Golgari mirrors. It's sort of the de facto best deck in Standard, but even that is a very contentious claim to make. Plenty of people, plenty of very, very talented people saying Golgari's reigning, it's sort of roughshod riding across Standards these days are nothing.
Yeah, well, the thing is, I feel like there's a certain build of Golgari that everybody had in mind going into the tournament. But the nice thing about this Golgari deck is that you have so many options, and you can always continue to adapt and retool your deck based on what people bring against you. So I don't actually, I think going into the tournament, a lot of the major teams still opted to play the Golgari deck because they went, look, we tried a lot of different options, but ultimately we feel like this is the most consistent, most powerful deck.
El clásico, me como un removal y pago. Está expresivo, bueno.
Both players will be in agreement on one thing. Carnage Tyrant is an absolute
está ahí todo el tiempo para él.
Goes after the Ravenous Chupacabra.
Mirando algo en el celular.
Of course.
Fine limpiazo el cartón realmente.
Might go on for a few more turns. Of course, a lot of it depends on what Javier
Las
Dominguez
dos
is
mitades
also
son
working
súper
with, but
útiles.
he's got a handful of cards too.
¿Cuál te gusta más? ¿La mitad de adelante o la mitad de atrás?
One of the most important cards in this matchup is that Carnage Tyrant, so I imagine Javier is also going to be looking to get that Carnage Tyrant back from his graveyard.
It looks like we've got a fine finality to do just that here, Paul. An active Golgari Queen, Vraska, sitting across her, atop her throne. Across it? I don't know how you sit across the throne. Like just lounge, treat it like a chaise lounge, I guess. I mean, you're the queen. You can have whatever kind of throne you want. In any case, the queen powers out a Tyrant here, Carnage Tyrant coming down, and Dominguez is the first to sort of rebuild after.
And Dominguez has a lot of options here. Does he want to use the Vraska Golgari Queen to get one of Mihara's creatures off the battlefield? Or does he want to take it up? And if he takes it up, does he want to actually set a creature that leaves Vraska a little more vulnerable.
Cada vez la juego menos más.
I don't think you want to be sacking the land because I think you already have 2 memorials on the battlefield, so those are actually valuable resources to get back to Carnage Tyrant, so sacking a land doesn't seem ideal. But sacking a creature means
bueno, aquí volvimos a lo que acabamos de decir que no estaban haciendo. Pero vemos como Scott Vargas y Mock están parados mientras terminamos de ver a Mihara con Domínguez.
That was another
Mihara? ¿Tuhara? ¿Tujarme?
Things looking much better. He's got the Tyrant advantage.
Estás atrapando Pokémon,
with the Planeswalker on the battlefield.
The Tyrant
Uy, no, bueno, hay un Pokémon, quiero taparlo.
He's got a pair of Tyrants here.
¿A dónde está?
Alright, let's see what Mihara's next move is, because of course he's not without his own Tyrant after...
Bueno, esa no sé cuál era una de las gracias del juego, que los Pokémon salían como...
Sí, pero fue aquí.
Yeah, and I don't think he's especially interested in attacking with all of his creatures, because by doing that, he would be throwing away one of his creatures instead of Carnage Tyrant, and
cazando Pokémon en Australia o está aquí en
probably going down to free loyalty. So probably just put the Carnage Tyrant on the battlefield and maybe deploy any other threats that he might have in his hand.
Well, let's see what the next move is here for Mihara. He's taking his time having to think about it. A tricky spot for him is Dominguez really is... I guess the other thing to note here is just the raw power level of the cards that are on the battlefield in Vraska and Carnage Tyrant, just much higher, and are sort of naturally outclassing the Junkers from Mihara. But now with a Carnage Tyrant of his own, he's going to get close to a position where he can start to contest. But as we say, that critical Tyrant advantage is on the side of the Spaniard.
I think now Javier might be interested in using the Vraska minus here to remove the Merfolk Branchwalker, because if he does that, he can't just triple block with all the small creatures to trade with the Carnage Tyrant. So then this would mean that if he attacks with the Carnage Tyrant, Mihara would be forced to block with his own Carnage Tyrant. And then Dominguez can then follow that up with his own... with another Carnage Tyrant to follow that up. But it looks like he's just picking up Vraska.
Doble Carnage Tyrant. Para Domínguez. Mihara está hasta la córnea, como se dice.
¿Contra las cuerdas?
No, yo creo que ya lo tienen.
Tiene algo caliente.
Lo tienen contra el... ¿Cómo se llama? El respaldo de la cama.
¿El próximo que la supe?
Sí, la bombi.
Yeah, and that's and win via the emblem. If one of your creatures deals combat damage, you win the game. Just poke through a little bit of trample damage there. And it's a lot easier when you have 14 points of trample on the battlefield.
¿Azuquita?
Yeah, for sure.
No,
Dominguez now.
soy un hombre de eso.
In a very commanding position, it has to be said. Let's see if Mihara can dig himself out of this. This one might be over before we know it. I mean, Dominguez is well positioned for a long game here, but also he does have the option to pull the trigger on taking more aggressive stance. So let's see exactly how this comes down.
Yeah, I mean, alternatively, you can also just choose to, for example, double block. If Mihara chooses to be aggressive with this Carnage Tyrant, Javier, with the damage that he does, can choose to double block the Carnage Tyrant and block Mihara's. Just use that memorial that he has to regrow the Carnage Tyrant that would die and play it on the following turn. And look at this, Mihara just playing a Ravenous Chupacabra without actually being able to kill anything.
just a little fabulous doggy here. Vraska's Contempt going to take care of that Jade-Light Ranger. Hexproof on Carnage Tyrant, meaning that we have a lot of these interactive cards blanked. And of course, a Stone Cold Control Killer, but really, really important in these mid-range matches.
Are we going to see a Vraska emblem?
Let's see what Dominguez is reading the card. He's like, oh, this has a third ability. I've heard of
this. Look at this. He's doing the math. There it is.
Are we going to see a big attack? All we need is 1 point of damage now. A single point of damage is going to win the game for Dominguez here, thanks to this Vraska emblem. Can he push through 1 damage across the battlefield?
It's always exciting when a game is determined by an emblem of a Planeswalker, and I think that's what we're going to see here.
Puso emblema y ahora va a atacar con 2 Carnage Tyrant.
Trample damage. He's got player death touch now.
And Javier just making sure, he sees the win here, but he
el problema es que si le hace daño a cualquier mono lo mata, ¿sí?
And a cross comes through, trampling 7/7s, and a Vraska emblem is enough now for Javier Dominguez to pick up game number 1. So let's move back to our front table after that thrilling finish there to the first game. I mean, hopefully we'll get to check in with that Golgari Mirror a little bit later on, but for now, back to Luis Scott Vargas and his opponent, Wilson Mock. Let's hope that we a little bit of better fortune here.
Menos mal pudimos volver a la transmisión original.
During game number 1. Looks like his hand is actually pretty well set up to go against Scott Vargas. Right?
Yeah, he's got nice efficient removal along with Essence Scatter.
I
think Adante Vanguard, one of the best cards to get Jeskai control, as the Jeskai deck doesn't really have a whole lot of ways to deal with it. Some decks that people have been shying away
¿Qué te parece Chivan Fire? ¿Te gusta?
And I think Wilson Mock has 2 silhouettes out of the fight. And very
No.
likely to brought that one in.
And Shivan Fire as well. Now Wilson Mock really putting himself
Mejor jugar Choc.
contesting Scott Vargas.
So he's got
ninguno.
Essence Scatter, but it's not going to answer history of Benalia.
Alright, we got a game in our hands,
No, creo
ladies
que
and gentlemen. Now,
ninguno,
Benalia are a great anti-control
muy
threat
más
here.
efectivo.
Wilson Mock unable to interact with it, although we invoke the Divine in hand here for him, so that can stem the bleeding. All of a sudden, the family reunion is cancelled.
Yeah, but I don't know if he wants to use that Invoke the Divine here. It sure it stops the 2/2 token, but he might be more interested in running out a Crackling Drake, because Invoke the Divine might have been brought in anticipation of something like an
Mandó con prioridad
that Luis Scott Vargas might
Pepito
have
mandó con
outside.
prioridad el
Right, I think you're right. Here.
sobre con el box top.
I have a lot of respect for the power of his Benalia, of course, but it looks like
Bueno, supone que
holding his spine.
la otra semana llega el sobre misterioso de
Happy with that.
Wizard, ¿no?
Say that for a range.
Llegó a Chile ayer.
Second night comes down.
Y aún no sabemos qué chucha hay.
No, lo más probable es que el martes yo lo tenga.
Ooh, this Invoke the Divine is going to be really nice.
Hello.
Wilson Mock's going to be able to use Invoke the Divine.
Creo que no sea un
Conclave
chúpalo.
Tribunal, get that
Gigante.
Crackling Drake back, and not only that, he will be able to utilize that enter the battlefield effect and draw an additional card.
So that's going to be a really nice little bit of work here for Wilson Mock, who
Invoke the
is
Divine.
definitely in a much stronger position than he
¿Lo
was
tiene en la
in
mano?
number one
Sí.
after Rough Mulligan, as we said. And look
La
at
pregunta
that.
es, ¿matan la
Extremely relaxed.
Benalia, que se va a morir sola de todas formas, para que no gane el bono los caballeros, o mata el que tiene sujeto el...
Now it's a very
o baja un Teferi y no hace ni una de las dos weas?
And this means that Mock is, I mean, he's leaving himself open here to some funny business from Scott Vargas, as we
Esto
see.
es como un
the
distractor.
third chapter. Oh,
Todos los caballeros contra el
This
creo.
is
contra el Negroni.
He's leaving his Teferi extremely vulnerable here, because now Luis can just attack Teferi with both of the creatures,
Yeah.
and
Parece
he has
que
no
sí.
way to
Y lo logró.
block
Yo
it.
lo hubiese pegado ahí.
It was kind of the card that he was
Sí.
able to kind of run away with the game, so
Lo que quiero es matarlo.
maybe he was just making the play to soak up some damage. Had he
Que así que
drawn
con Vargas le quedan dos peos en la mano.
play that Invoke the Divine.
Essence Gunner now on the Dauntless Bodyguard. Of course, it
Por
being
eso-
a knight that did benefit from the +2/+1.
Hubiese
Those
pegado ahí.
knights on the battlefield got it. I got it, of course, as well, Paul. But
Yo seco, no hay problema ahí.
my surge of strength, I felt approximately 2 points.
Fue el tiro.
One
Yeah.
point tougher for that
Things
moment.
still looking very good
Bueno.
for Wilson Mock, however, as
Le queda un Deafening Clarion,
Invoke the Divine
que igual se pitea todo.
used on
Sí.
the Conclave Tribunal to ambush these Knight tokens.
And well, a definite clarity and as well, it's all coming out from Mock.
Oh, and next turn is going to be absurd. So what Wilson Mock can do here is use
¿Qué
Invoke the
quitó?
Divine, kill Tribunal, gain
Voy.
4 life, get Cracking Drake,
Va a
draw
recuperar
card,
el...
eat a token on the following turn. If he feels like he
Ah,
needs
ya
to,
entendí cuál es el combo ahí.
Clarion to destroy all of Luis Scott Vargas' creatures and give his Crackling Drake lifelink to gain, it looks like 5 life.
6 life once the card itself is in the bin here. This is
Look
going
at
to be
this.
huge.
And, well, one of the cards in the graveyard is a Teferi, so that
Oh,
would not
okay.
count.
Excuse me.
But not only that, now he has the Ionized backup as well, so this is a huge swing.
Oh my goodness, a deafening Clarion, both modes fully engaged here for Mock, and get across now for 5 damage in the air. All of it life leading as well. He's put himself in a great position here. Scott Vargas very swiftly being left in the dust.
And he's got the counter back up here too, so he can't even lose to an Experimental Frenzy. Luis, I don't see him coming back from this.
Al parecer Mock lo va a dar vuelta.
Oh,
Porque recuperó el Draco y
El Draco le
un
voló
caballero.
no, le voló la mesa.
Pero cuando atacó lo recuperó y le dio un caballero, ¿no? ¿O no hizo eso?
Sí, parece que sí.
Already, Scott Vargas. It looks like he's dead in the water here. Just a piddling little 1/1 is
Never give up.
No, pero aparte de eso,
Never give up. Never say
le dio
die.
lifelink y hizo toda la maroma.
Basically looking to try to play into Experimental Frenzy and hope that Wilson does
Ah,
not.
Deafening Clarion por los dos modos.
They've always got it.
Te vuelo la mesa y mi Draco ganaría.
Sí.
Gate as well.
Y
Just
eso es bastante
really round
abusivo.
point home there here for Wilson Mock. He's going
Voy
to
a
get
soltarme un segundo para ocupar mi
knock
niño.
Scott
Sí, por
Vargas
supuesto.
down to 6 here for my count, and then give him essentially what, 1, maybe 2 more draws before this one is all over Red Rover. Across comes the Vampire. going to gain Scott Vargas 1 point. Oh no, well, it's going to go up to Teferi, still gaining that point of life. And here's the history of Benalia. That's going to eat an Ionize, and that is enough. Luis Scott Vargas 2 from the Ionize, the lethal damage coming across thanks to the Crackling Drake. Game number 3 is upon us.
Yeah, and that is exactly the reason why people have been playing Crackling Drake. Not only is it just an excellent source of card advantage, and it just gets in the way of a lot of these aggressive decks, that in conjunction with Deafening Clarion is your primary way to kind of come back, especially in situations where your opponent has whittled your life total down.
We don't often see the lifelink mode of Deafening Clarion come up, right? It's very, very relevant in situations like that, but you know, a lot of the time it'll just be, hey, I'll do the 3 damage and I'll be happy with what I've got away with. But if you, again, these critical 4 toughness Drakes, Crackling Drake, Enigma Drake, they can get busy after the lifelink of Deafening Clarion and gain a huge amount of life, and that's exactly what we just saw there.
That is a very, very, very nice combination. And looks like Michael Burnett firmly has this one. More creatures, more power, more planeswalkers, and he's ascended just for a little extra value.
So we jump across now to one of our back tables, and yes, as you say, Michael Burnett well and truly in the driver's seat here, and a big attack from him. The Knight of Grace is kind of biting the dust here after this massive onslaught, fueled by an Ajani, taking to the sky with Rustwing Falcon and Sky Marcher Aspirant. And the Knight's getting busy as well, looking good for Burnett here.
And Burnett has currently the best record in the tournament. He's tied with Azani. He's currently sitting at 11-1-1. So if he wins this, he'll be sitting at 12-1-1. And it's possible, even if he loses the last 2 rounds at 12-3-1, he might be locked for the top 8 if he wins this.
Wow, so he's playing for a lot. He got a Deafening Clarion here for larger plus.
Wow.
Look at what the result of
he
this
expected that one.
That is huge here.
From another Boros aggressive deck.
And that just sweeps the board, right? I mean, look, let's keep things in perspective. Duplass is still at 6, and he's still facing down an active Ajani with no action of his own, but this is step 1.
Yeah, I mean, that is one of the few cards that makes it a little bit closer. Michael Burnett still very, very firmly in the lead with the huge life total advantage, along with that Ajani on the battlefield.
And a great way to rebuild here for Duplass as well now, with a history of Benalia turning the tides, and the Knights assemble on the village green now. And Burnett's still 3 cards in hand for him, and that active Ajani, so he can rebuild pretty nicely if that's what he's wanting to do here. But a Deafening Clarion definitely took it by surprise.
Yeah, definitely. Well, it's just one of those cards where you just kind of don't expect from an opponent who also plays a deck full of creatures with toughness less than 3, or 3 or less. But, you know, sometimes you can just cast that Clarion to race in situations and give your creatures lifelink. And especially in situations like this where, you know, that surprise factor is there, where, like, you can kind of sandbag your creatures a little bit and your opponent will run into it. Like, that can really just get people by surprise.
Let's see what the Adversary of Tyrants is going to do here. Downstairs.
Imagine he's going to... Okay.
Sky Marcher Aspirant is a 2/1 flyer, of course. The City's Blessing has been bestowed upon Michael Burnett.
Or this looks like a venerated Loxodon.
Yes, indeed. It's a convoke card of some sort. Yes, indeed. Venerated Loxodon hits the battlefield now and grows the Sky Marcher Aspirant to a 3/2. So Duplass not out of the woods yet. Let's see what he can pull together this turn. Mr. Benalia goes up as Professor Binns continues his lecture.
Sometimes just a 4/4 elephant is all you need to just brick-wall your opponent. All these creatures are extremely small. Everything in kind of the Boros aggressive decks are basically 2/2s.
But I mean, it's only going to take a few attacks with that Sky Marcher before Duplass is in the ground here.
Right.
He needs an answer to the flyer. Maybe an Aurelian, something like that to contest.
Aurelian would be huge.
Yeah, it's going to be really important for him, right?
Okay.
Oh, look at this. Here we go.
He has a heroic reinforcement, but keep in mind he is at 6 life, so he can't just attack with all of his creatures.
He needs a Deafening Clarion. Give him more lifelink. Get in there.
Right.
Get busy.
So now he's attacking with both of his knights, keeping the soldiers from the reinforcements back. By doing so, he will be able to kill that Ajani Adversary of Tyrants on the battlefield. But as a result, he will lose one of his knights, as the Loxodon is currently sitting at 4/4, and the knights are currently 3/3.
So yes, indeed, one of the knights gets lost in the elephant grass, but away goes the Adversary of Tyrants. So that's a small victory there for Duplass. Let's move back now to Burnett and see what he can pull together off the top of his deck.
But that Aspirant is a 2-turn clock.
And I think of an Alish Marshall in hand here for Burnett, maybe the next card to be deployed, and that's going to be a real headache here for Duplass, who has done a good job to keep himself in it, but he's staring down the barrel.
A mí me llama mucho la atención. Está buena la partida, todo lo que quieran. pero hacer ese tipo de inciso en los tiempos para poder transmitir una y otra y retrasar las rondas, lo encuentro nefasto, pero nefasto a morir. Nosotros seguimos, no nosotros, yo sigo comiendo dulce.
So yeah, that's one of the stolen on the bus here on the elephant square, and he needed a way to contest that flyer. He found it, deployed it, and now
another Clarion?
He might start to put himself back in. A deafening Clarion might be the first way to start to buff his life total, although poking in just for 5 here may be not the best use of the card.
Ooh, okay.
Oh, a baffling end, alright. Get rid of that Banalish Marshal here.
Yeah, so it would get rid of the Banalish Marshal, but again, his creatures are just too small, cannot deal with the Loxodon. Gets him for 4 here with the History of Benalia trigger, but Burnat's still at a very healthy 19 life, and the Claw is going to have to chump again this turn. Actually, he could potentially take 4 damage. The Boros deck doesn't really have a ton of reach.
Let's see what he's up to now. Both of these players still with cards in hand. Not often you see this situation. A lot of them, time they're just dumping cards into play willy-nilly and getting it done here. The 4/4 comes across all the same. No, the Buzz is not going to take any risks. Reserves his life total now. Let's see what's next up for the day. Off the top. What's he found? I think that's another heroic reinforcement.
That's more chump blockers, I guess. Wow, look at this.
All right.
Just this elephant just getting in there. Four.
But no, there is all the, they've got all the guards in the way. The Loxodon cannot connect. No trample, of course.
Probably keeping a soldier back and attacking with the knight. This gets him for 5 points of damage, putting Burnat down to 14.
Slowly but surely whittling away the life total of the American here. As you say, Burnat in a commanding position when it comes to the grand scope of the tournament, because he is well and truly ahead of the field.
I guess if the plus just draws mono heroic reinforcements and Burnat keeps drawing lands, he could somehow win this race.
4 cards in hand now for Burnat. He's got to have something. He's got to be able to contest. The 4/4 is going to get busy once again, but you'd imagine Duplass is set up to just chump block here.
Right.
The reinforcements coming in at just the right time. Man, you should have got the card timely reinforcements instead of... Oh, wait.
That one's taken.
Already taken.
Sorry.
That real estate has already been bought up.
Right.
Yeah. So in comes the Loxodon, and of course blocked immediately by the 1/1. Let's see what Burnat's follow-up. He needs a follow-up. He has to get some business on the board.
His hand is actually just all removal. I see a baffling hand, and I believe Tribunal as well.
Oh,
but it looks like he's holding it and saving it in case the plus has a larger creature.
Well, we may see the Conclave Tribunal, go up to the baffling end, and that's going to make him a 3/3. So now, of course, he doesn't get the Banalish Marshal back. It's not like a normal Oblivion Ring type.
But I'm wondering why he went for the baffling end to get a 3/3 instead of the Tribunal, which would get him a 4/4.
Oh, no.
Right? That feels better to me, but I think it looks like he noticed and realized that he could have switched to taking the Tribunal, but it looked like he kind of pointed at the baffling end.
Well, while a judge resolves this situation, I think we might jump back to our front table because those players are seated up, ready to go in game number 3. Scott Vargas and Mock here, Luis Scott Vargas and Wilson Mock, Jeskai control in the hands of Wilson Mock, and of course Luis Scott Vargas on Boros aggro. I'm sure we'll be able to check back in with that game that we just stepped away from there between Burnat and Duplass, and of course we'll bring you updates as they come to hand. But for now, Scott Vargas getting busy with a Healer's Hawk, constructed All-Star Healer's Hawk.
And limited All-Star.
Just mate.
Bueno, y por fin volvemos a la partida que estábamos viendo.
Well, here's a Danto Vanguard as well. This 1-2 punch is a fantastic start for Scott Vargas.
Very, very
Pegó uno, bajamos un Anto.
Not a lot of ways to actually remove
En 2 tierras, si tiene blanco, puede
Only 2
tirar un cleansing.
Wilson Mock sideboard as answers.
And his hand is not looking
as black as
it was last time.
He has Steal Away, but no white source.
Dragones, Silaway.
One piece of the puzzle, and a negate is a great answer to History of Benalia, but we saw a handful of Essence Scatters and Shivan Fires last time around. Mock is not running that. He doesn't have that same kind of
and look, he draws a Deafening Clarion, but again, he needs that white source.
No white source.
But keep in mind, he does have a couple of Crackling Drakes on the battlefield, which will do an excellent job of blocking Luis Scott Vargas' creatures.
Okay, alright, actually, Mock's position is not too bad. If this is a creature, he can counter it with Essence Scatter.
Right.
Cast a Crackling Drake for certain next turn, and hopefully find a White Sword before too much longer. Scott Vargas, I don't know if he's got anything else here.
It look it's got going for the tapping the mana to make it seem like he has another creature to play, but only looking to sandbag it there when he's holding a handful of Conclave Tribunal.
Triple Conclave Tribunal here. Now, of course, it is going to be very useful against cards like this Crackling Drake. And if Mock can find a Deafening Clarion to kind of sweep away the dust here, then he's going to be in good shape. Legion's Landing generates a 1.
That was big. It was basically a free creature, as he can use the token created by Legion's Landing to help convoke out the Tribunal and still continue to get in.
Está pegando fuerte el
does
hombre.
need to find answers soon. He does really want white mana to be able to deal with that Adanto Vanguard. He can use the Seal Away to exile it. Then he can use the Deafening Clarion to remove the rest of the army.
Still no white source here for the Canadian, as a second basic mountain finds its way into the hand of Wilson Mock. He's taking his time with this decision.
Bueno, si Mock no ve la llanura, va a estar súper difícil.
Was a sacred boundary, and if you want to play it on tap, that will put him down to 5 life, which is
que ahora van a pegar cuánto,
He has a
5.
couple of options here. He can either play out the Crackling Drake and hope Luis doesn't have another removal spell to block, to remove the Drake, or he could play the Sacred Foundry untapped and look to cast Seal Away to deal with the Adanto Vanguard on the battlefield.
Alright, so all of the white cards now online, thanks to the addition of that Sacred Foundry. Here is Seal Away.
And this makes a lot of sense because he does not want Luis to be able to attack with 3 creatures and to flip that Legion's Landing that he has on the battlefield.
So now Essence Scatter is still an option here for Mock.
And if I'm Luis, if it looked like he had 2 Conclave Tribunals in hand, I still want to try to close out this game as quickly as possible. I'm going to start out by attacking with my 2 tokens, then use Conclave Tribunal on the Seal Away to get back my Adanto Vanguard.
Adanto Vanguard, a very
Y tiene 2 conclaves en la mano.
For the Jeskai deck to deal with.
He's like,
yeah, well, what are you targeting then, buddy? You want to target this Conclave Tribunal? Unfortunately for Mock, no. Scott Vargas did not fall for that very cunning ruse.
And this is kind of sometimes the problem that you see when you play a control deck. You're playing a lot of these hard counters, but they're all conditional counters. Cards like Essence Scatter and Negate. I can't tell you how many times in testing where I had Essence Scatter turn 3 against the white weenie deck and going, you know what, I'm good.
I got it.
Sale el Ixalan Binding.
Oh, come on.
Imagino que va
Yeah, that's one of the
a
reasons.
tirárselo a Adanto.
Is so terrific, against these
A ver que tengo otro remover.
threat portfolio, a way to, still put pressure on with non-creature spells. And let's have a look at what Mock's next move is now. Looks like we're going to see
so that's going to move the game as his last card, I believe, is a 3rd Conclave Tribunal.
But he can't cast it.
El problema es que él no sabe que, claro, tenía el otro conclave.
Totally right.
Because, of course, that Conclave Tribunal, as you say, would wrap it up.
He still gets the attack for free here.
Big attacks, flips the Legion's Landing. He's still in great shape, but Mock has sniped that last Conclave Tribunal in the hand of Scott Vargas.
Right, but Mock will be able to turn it around. Remember, he has Deafening Clarion in hand.
Yep.
He can remove 2 of the creatures on the battlefield and then give his Crackling Drake lifelink for a big attack.
So now, Wilson Mock with a 1/4 Drake, only in a
Y ahora debería pegarle 3 a todos.
There's only 1 card, okay, so it's not actually going to be a big attack.
It's not going to be you're not going to be one of these massive swings for 10, but all the same, it's going to do some tidy work against Scott Vargas, who of course does have the option to keep that Adanto Vanguard around. But Mock's attack is not going to be enough.
Did you see his draw?
What's he found? Oh my goodness!
And the Divine!
And
a Clifftop Retreat. So he has multiple options now. He can actually use Deafening Clarion to sweep the rest of the creatures on the board. Then he can use Invoke to Divine on a Conclave Tribunal to get back his Seal Away. Just to remove the Adanto Vanguard, yes.
It's just all coming out. It's
all
coming out Wilson right now.
Tiene un Deafening Clarion
because he's in a great position.
Que podría matar todo. Obviamente la Adanto este va a pagar las 4 vidas. Y va a tener que pararlo con el...
¿Y cuántas vidas gana su día live? ¿No gana mucho?
No, creo que no.
And many of these control decks no longer play Field of Ruin because, Search for Ascanta isn't played as much. So that Legion's Landing can just single-handedly allow Luis to just amass an army by itself.
Este one tiene un conclave, pero lo tienen con Ixalan Binding. Se lo cagó sin saber porque este one tenía 3 conclaves.
Ahí tiene otro conclave con un Seal Away.
Sí.
Se podría sacar el... Ese conclave para que entre el Ciudadway y lo demás era tanto. El que puede defender.
Great stuff from Mock.
So, Mock is now just looking through his options and figuring out what he wants to do here. If he plays the Deafening Clarion this turn, he will get rid of 3 creatures, give his Crackling Drake life and gain 2 life and go to 3. But I actually did not see that he had another Crackling Drake again, but this is going to be a huge turn.
Alright, so Scott Vargas activates Adanto the first board, puts another lethal 1/1 threat into play here. Mock has got the technology.
Has Luis is going
Quizás cree que el Clarion es instantáneo.
Try to play around Invoke the Divine.
No.
So 4 mana, and oh no, look at this, another Vampire token, and an attack with everything. And let's see what Mock can do here. As we see Legion's Landing flip again, Adanto the second fort enters the battlefield now.
Yo tampoco.
And Mock gets to line up some blocks, and of course, cast that copy of Invoke the Divine to buffer his life total. Here it is.
Look at this.
Ah, porque gana vida, ¿no?
Plays here for Mock now.
Invoke the Divine gana 4 vidas.
Goes up to 5. Seal away on the Adanto Vanguard. Wilson Mock will life here. Next turn he can play Deafening Clarion.
Sí, se me había olvidado la parte de ganar las 4 vidas.
Y le pasaban 2, quedó en
3. Yeah, this is huge. This is huge.
Y ahora va a poder hacer Deafening Clarion en los 2 modos, pegarle 6 y ganar 6 vidas.
On the part of Wilson Mock here, he's going to put him right back into this game. Definitely Clarion in hand, Essence Scatter to shore up any later weaknesses. I like his position.
Yeah, and just that text on Ixalan's binding is the reason why Luis may lose this game. He cannot play that last Conclave Tribunal in his hand.
He has a blank piece of cardboard in his hand here. Deafening Clarion for the full value, an attack for 6, gain 6, up to 9. Scott Vargas under siege here. And now with an Essence Scatter and a Negate, he is living life on easy street.
Right.
Mock's, I know we're not supposed to give out personal details of people on stream, but I can tell you Mock's address is #1 easy street.
Yeah. Keep on one of the more important cards that Luis could have, I've seen a lot of people do this out of the red-white aggro decks, is Banefire. If he just top decks a Banefire and get Wilson low enough, he can still win this game.
Alright, so Scott Vargas finding a way still to threaten lethal off the top of his library. He's playing those lands aggressively. He's activating Adanto the first fort. Let's see if he can find what he needs. He's not having this turn for.
And it looks like he's still waiting, building up that force. And Wilson Mock, you know,
sigue robando tierra.
not drawing anything the last few turns.
No, están diciendo que
few more turns to try to find that Banefire.
Banefire sería una carta que después Vargas podría tener para terminar con esta buena. Essence Scatter al mono para que ahora pierda 4.
Okay, so now we've got a couple of 4/4
bloquea 1.
But Vargas is also going to get busy. It looks like he's also, happy to damage where he can, buffer his life total as well.
Gaining some life. Wilson Mock's getting flooded here. He's drawn a bunch of lands in a row. And at this point, he is within Banefire range. So he does need to try to close out this game as quickly as possible. Now, how many spells in Graveyard are we looking at here? We're looking at 5. And Wilson chose not to attack anymore. This is actually buying Luis a lot more turn.
It is. It is. It's going to give him a much better chance of top decking that lethal Banefire. That's what he needs. And another land for Wilson Mock.
Really, if Wilson Mock finds Deafening Clarion, he will be able to close it out. But now, I mean, Luis also
both of them just flooding out. Oh my goodness!
Oh, there it is!
The monsoon. What's he found here, Paul?
Deafening Clarion off the top for Wilson Mock. That wipes the board. He's now going to gain 10 life. He's going to get. Is that 10? It's 10 life. 10 life.
It halves Luis Scott Vargas' life total. Wilson Mock up to 16. And now, I tell you what, Scott Vargas was just the unfortunate, he's the victim of, a bit of poor fortune there, unable to find the card he needed off the top of the deck. Wilson Mock in a position now with a stunning, a dramatic reversal here, Paul. Scott Vargas, can he find anything? He's on 1 life against these massive Drakes, Deafening Clarion, MVP. Oh,
he found the Banefire, but it was too little, too late.
And Scott Vargas has just got to read him and weep. A very unfortunate set of circumstances for him at 11.
He's got a Banefire for 10 and he can attack for 2. So that would put Wilson Mock down to 3 life. So
and it's an extension of the hand. What a massive game for Wilson Mock. You can see he is so happy with himself. for having fallen across the line there. I have to hand
Y finalmente dio vuelta el match.
What a comeback there.
Against one of the greatest players of all time.
Yeah, Ixalan's binding, doing so much. If it was just any other removal spell, Luis would have been able to win.
Yeah.
He would have been able to cast it. And he did a timely Deafening Clarion. He drew it before Luis found his Banefire. There were so many things going on there. And yeah, very, very close game. I can tell you this too. Going into this match, I had the opportunity to talk to Wilson right before the round, and he was sitting at 11-2, and he looked extremely nervous.
Yeah.
Now, this is not his first Pro Tour, but this is the first time he's been doing this well, and you could definitely tell that there were some nerves.
Oh yeah.
And to be able to go up against one of the best players ever, and just come out on top,
and hold your own so convincingly.
That was a really, really nice match to watch.
It was incredible. Look, commiserations as well to LSV, who is still well and truly live for top 8 at Excellent 3. He's still in the conversation. We'll keep a close eye on him, but right now, we're going to keep a close eye on this Golgari mid-range mirror. We checked in on these guys earlier in the round, and we're back at it once again.
Is that an emblem?
Mahara against Javier Dominguez.
Is that an emblem?
Oh no, Mahara is now the one with the Frasca emblem. Dominguez winning a previous game in style.
It's just the same thing that we see, but in reverse.
It is an actual mirror. It is a mirror situation in a mirror match. Makahito Mahara giving his creatures a weird death touch plus here.
Javier needs fine finality here to be able to sweep up the rest of the board and make sure his Carnage Tyrant is bigger so he can block Mihara's Carnage Tyrant.
Vivian Reed, I think, the rip here for the Spaniard. The world champion, of course, riding high.
I know Vivian can kill a lot of things, but I don't think I can get rid of it.
No, I don't think it has to sadly extend the hand there. What a dramatic turnaround. Makahito Mahara is like, that was kind of cool the way that he killed me. Maybe
that was like a learning moment. You beat me with Emblem Game 1. Okay, yeah, I can do that to you too.
Yeah, the apprentice has become the master truly, my friend.
Mihara ganó.
Is all she
A Domínguez.
A
Domínguez le ganaron.
I tell you
Perdió.
what, Paul, we had some smiles with some frowns, some ups, some downs, with some laughs, we had some tears. But at the end of the day, that is that. I mean, a truly dramatic round. We really saw some of the best that this format has to offer.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know, we were in situations where we were thinking, you know what? Like, I don't think he can draw anything. I think he's just dead. And somehow he drew a removal spell that was also a life gain spell that also dealt with one of Luis's most difficult to deal with creatures.
Deberíamos tener un canal de comer.
Yeah,
¿Cachai esos buenos que comen en los canales? Solo comen.
Have kind of passed in the night, and we haven't seen a lot of interaction or a lot of back and forth, or it's been very one-sided. And it's really good to see the opposite of that. You know, really intense, complex match when it comes down to getting the maximum value out of your cards, complex decisions at the highest level. It's what the Pro Tour is all about.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, wow. We still got more rounds.
So we still got more. The party don't stop, ladies and gentlemen. So stick with us. We're going to take a quick break, but on the other side, we're gearing up for the countdown towards the top 8. So stay with us. We'll be back after this.
Boy. ¿Qué video? Tú también. Ya. ¿Y qué más de nuevo?
Ahora nos están mostrando lo... Volvimos al limbo, llamado.
¿Al pantano de mierda este?
Sí.
¿Hay gente viendo?
A ver. Sí, sí, hay gente.
¿Una persona?
No.
¿Cuánto?
4.
No, miércoles.
Una muchedumbre.
Una muchedumbre.
Team Magic Sur.
En vez de tener esta cuestión, tienen que tener un match, alguien hablando más y no sé.
Pero ahí nos dicen que la cobertura en vivo volverá en 1 minuto.
Claro, y ahí van a preguntarle, ¿cuál es tu comida favorita? ¿A usted el pico le gusta entero o en pedazo?
En pedacito. O sea, vos te podrías llevar para allá.
¿Por?
¿Por me gustaste esa hueá?
¿Por me gusta entero? Ah, por.
Qué maraco. Yo creo que tenés que bajar la patita para que nos podamos ver.
¿O ponerla para allá? Lamentablemente nuestro super setup de idea del día de...
Nosotros quisimos y no pudimos.
Sí. Quisimos hacer algo más interesante, pero no pudimos.
Los chupetos.
Vamos a ver si logro subastar mi pack de tokens.
Por favor. Señor, esto no me quiero ir.
Aparentemente el Spider-Man se va a tener que ir, ¿no?
Ah, sí,
sí.
sí.
Sony.
Parece que ya no lo van a prestar más.
No te presto más el Spider-Man.
Cotita.
A lot of players talk about going to a tournament and getting lucky. Mike Burnett decided, give us a spin here, Michael. Decided to bring his luck with him.
Yep, we got the Andrew Luck jersey. I wear it pretty much to almost every tournament, so.
Acá decir que la ocupa casi todos los
And he's
torneos.
been treating you very well this weekend.
¿La lama o es parte de la suerte de dejar de onda?
Puede ser, a lo mejor se junta mucho con Finn, o sea, con
Yeah, it's pretty unbelievable. I believe I can just intentional draw into next round, into top 8, so hopefully I can get paired against someone that can do that. But yeah, it's been an extremely unreal weekend, so I wouldn't have expected anything like this.
So let me ask you, I know your first Pro Tour is going back 20 years. You've been grinding away at this for a long time. I think you're sort of the definition of
Salvato ayer la
Pro
marcó.
Tour grinder. Did you ever think that this moment would come where you're looking down the barrel of your first Pro Tour top 8?
Honestly, I didn't. I came very close at Pro Tour Dragon's Maze, lost to winning in, and to be honest with you, I thought that was my chance, and I blew it, you know, so I thought that was it, but I guess not.
What does it mean for you to have this opportunity after so long to be able to, still play this game
Salvato
and
no
still
hizo
be
día
able
2.
to succeed at the highest level here?
Ah,
I mean,
mierda.
it's
Sacó
pretty
9
unreal,
puntos.
honestly.
Gastó
Like,
toda
I've
su
just been
suerte
running really hot
para
for the
ganar el
past
jugador
year,
del año.
so
Así parece. ¿Y Manfield cómo va?
maybe
Se le acabó la
running
magia.
hot.
Manfield va con 24. O sea, va con
Grand
un
Prix Vegas
8-5.
champion, Grand Prix
Tampoco va a
Portland
ser
top
top.
8. Now, very, very possibly
¿En cuántas
the
rondas
Pro Tour
tiene?
Guilds of Ravnica top 8.
Si van 8-5, quedan
What's the
3.
message you'd have out there for people who are, have been playing
Debería
the
ser
game
con
for a while and are
12-4
still
o
aspiring to
Sí,
get
12,
to this stage of the game?
12-3-1 yo creo.
¿Sí?
Sí, no sé si 12-4 alcanza a hacerlo.
¿Y 11-4-1?
Just grinding it out, that's it.
No.
That's
no.
all that I've done is just
Según lo bueno, es que
grind
también
a lot.
siempre yo creo que
Most
depende
of
del
the time,
producto, pero lo
there's
último que
not
recuerdo es
any,
que siempre era como
results that
12-3-1
come
lo
with
más...
Ah, pero espérate, veamos cómo va el primero.
Sometimes you get lucky and
Primero va con 34 puntos.
All right, Michael Burnett, great job this weekend, and looking forward to
Después de la
seeing what you
ronda,
have the rest of the
¿cuál
way here
vamos?
at Pro Tour
13.
Guilds of Ravnica.
All right,
O sea,
Maria.
ha perdido una, empatado otra.
I am a liar, pants on fire. And
El segundo va igual y el otro ha perdido 2. Ya, tenemos que correr 2 rondas
last round, I
el
said
standing
23
general.
people who could win the Pro Tour.
Y lo que
And I said all
normalmente
the
se...
exit were dead.
O sea, debería poder entrar un
That's not
12-4.
necessarily true.
Puede ser.
And here's
Debería
why.
poder entrar.
If we get to the end of round 15,
Pero
all the 12 and
con la
3
cantidad de gente igual
stack up
puede
against
que
each other and go,
esté más
we
apretado.
Rich Hagan.
draw, then they may all play. And if that's true, then suddenly, instead of 6 people going up from 36 to 37, there is suddenly 3 people going from 36 to 39. And if that's true, maybe you end up with this suppression of the 12-win crowd, and maybe someone at 12-4 sneaks in. So, I'm really sorry. I'm really sorry.
Quizás se pueda dar que alguien con un 12-4 se logre meter ahí.
No.
Bueno, y si pierden los de arriba.
Did my best. That's what an apology sounds like, by the way. So let's show you something else while we work out some more math. How about Brad Nelson? He knows a thing or two about making the top 8. Wonder how he's getting on. Here he is.
Brad Nelson.
The Ninja Turtle.
We've never seen a Player of the Year playoff before. This was a showdown for the ages.
Mira el terror y la producción ahí.
And then when he caught me, it felt so bad. I called my dad. I was really shooken up. And my dad just said, this is going to be history. So wise at the time, he's like, this is going to be part of history. You're going to be doing something that's never been done before. And you can still win it. It's not like you've lost. And that really got me through the weekend and got me back home. I'm Brad Nelson. I grew up in North Dakota, but now I live in Roanoke, Virginia. I work for Star City Games and travel the world playing Magic the Gathering. For about 6 months in 2010, I didn't lose a match. I won so much that I thought you could just wheel it. So much that I top 8'd. 5 tournaments in a row, 2 Pro Tours, 2 Grand Prix, and the Nationals. I accumulated so many points that I was going into Worlds. But a myth, a legend, Guillaume Matignon ended up accumulating points from the team portion of the tournament along with winning Worlds. And from there, he got exactly the same amount of points as I did. And we were doing something for a playoff or a tie that has never happened before. On Sunday, when I was watching Worlds play out, I was mortified. I was just pins and needles the entire time. Not only Guillaume could catch me, but Paulo could straight up win Player of the Year if he even got out of the quarterfinals. So I had to root for Guillaume to beat Paulo and then root for him to lose. It was a very stressful day. Well, what ends up happening is Player of the Year is going to be decided in Paris during the first Pro Tour of the season, where we will be playing a playoff of both limited and constructed, a best of 7 games.
Well, I'd like to think that I was the person that was a little bit more calm in the family when we were watching the playoff because me and my dad were there. But then I look back at the pictures and I see myself in the background and I'm just like this every time, you know, like I'm just at the edge of my seat. So it was a lot of stress.
All right, so I wake up Saturday morning. The playoff is in a couple hours. I come downstairs with my brother and I see you. And you're there and you're like, oh, let's watch. Start walking and you're asking questions, you're talking. 30 minutes rolls by and we're lost. And I look at you and I'm like, don't you know where we're going? You're like, no, I was following your brother, Corey. And I'm like, you never follow Corey. You don't follow him anywhere. We have to hail a cab because we don't know where we're at all in Paris. But, I mean, if you're going to be late to something, it's good to have the commentators with you.
You know, I'm still pretty sure that we were following you, and then once you got us lost, you just blamed it on me. That's the story I'm going to stick to.
So I had a really good constructed deck. We ended up playing Cobblade, which is considered one of the best Pro Tour decks of all time. But like, keep in mind, like, I'm young. I'm on my 2nd year of the Pro Tour. I had this unbelievable year, and I felt like mentally that I got Players for Storm. I mean, he won, but I knew the matchup was so good that I should be able to overcome any variance, and he won the die roll.
De todo esto lo que hace Wizard es que te muestra esta historia así como tratando de convencer a los jugadores de que tú podrías ser uno de ellos. ¿Entendí?
Pero hace por atrás todo lo posible para que no lo sea.
Exactamente. Y primero que todo, yo creo que, claro, que si viviera en Estados Unidos o quizás incluso en Europa, podría ser uno de ellos. Pero nosotros de Sudamérica estamos cagados. Y dos, es que realmente el Magic no existe, Michael Jordan del Magic. No existe el Pelé, el Maradona, no. O sea, bueno, el único que podría llegar a decir que era como el Michael Jordan del Magic es Kai Wood. Salió jugador del año como 4 veces seguía, ganó toda una época en que literalmente el Juan iba y ganaba. Todos los otros sacos eran como, ay, este Juan perdí. ¿Cachai? Pero de hace tiempo que no pasa eso y es obvio porque es un juego que tiene un grado de suerte importante, ¿cachai? No es como solo habilidad, entonces. Pero para eso yo creo que ocupan esta weá así como, oh, miren, bueno, ustedes podrían llegar a ser campeones de ProTour o, bueno, jugador del año y toda la weá y no sé, no me convence. No, ese es el jugador del año.
But it's just this like surreal thing that I still can't really put into words.
Oye, la lluvia.
Eso era el 2010.
¿Y la lluvia, güey?
Mira, esto es más interesante. Día 2.
Lo mismo que mayo.
No, pues ahora está el partido hasta el día 2. Pasó muy rápido, pero...
Seguía con 22%
sí, seguía con 22%.
Eso quiere decir que prácticamente todos los jugadores...
No, porque el porcentaje del día 2. Ahí está, porcentaje del día 2 vuelve a tener el 22% con 71 mazos.
Se pasaron harto.
Red White Agro. Esper Control, de los 5 pasaron 4. Lizard Drake de 66, 45. Mono Red Agro de 64, 43.
Bueno, Boros Agro subió su...
Grixie Control del 9, pasaron 3 nomás. Turbo Fox de 9, 4. Serenia Midrange de 8, 5. Hay que recordar siempre que lamentablemente como que los datos de estándar que sacan de los ProTour no son siempre fieles a qué tan buenos son los mazos, porque la porción de draft también afecta harto a lo que hacen los jugadores.
Igual sería interesante.
Si consideramos que un Juan haciendo 4-4 hace día 2, puede ser que haya hecho 3-0 en el draft y haya hecho 1-5 en estándar, igual suma para el mazo de él, para el porcentaje que pasó el día 2, a pesar de que en estándar la haya mascado. Entonces hay que tener cuidado con eso.
Well, we are down to our final 2 teams in BDM's Team Series Countdown. Let's find out who's at number 2.
Mi amiga.
Brian David Marshall, continuing my countdown of 8 teams to watch here on the Pro Tour Team Series. I've got a team at number 2 that we have not talked about in previous years because this is a new squad. But when you look at their results on the Pro Tour last year,
de promover esto como bueno, los teams para el producto. Maíz se juega a uno, bueno, en serio, ya no. Aleluya, Sword, aleluya,
Kelvin Chu,
aleluya, Maestro.
the World Magic Cup champion. Jeremy Desani, a Pro Tour champion, Player of the Year. Javier Dominguez, the world champion right now. And his opponent from the finals of that world championship, Grzegorz Kowalski. I have a lot of time for Greg. Really impressed a lot of people on the Pro Tour this season. Puts in a ton of work. We just watched a segment with him this week where he talks about playing like upwards of 40 leagues before preparing for an event. 200, 300 matches.
Encuentro que le da mucha importancia a este tema de los equipos, weón, y
and when you look at the numbers, when you look at the results, this is a team that is right out in front of the field right now.
Si quiero ver el que todavía no entiendo para qué.
I expect big things from them this season. A lot of it might rest on Kelvin Chu catching up to some of the other accomplishments on this team, but I'm excited to see what they do. How are you, your Sword? Is my number 2 team to watch on the Pro Tour Team Series this year.
Well, I think I know who his number one is going to be, but we'll see later in the show. Now, coming up, we have Maria talking with our pro panel that featured Javier Dominguez, Corey Burkhart, and Corey Baumeister. And this time, of course, all good pros are good at Magic. They're good at turning cards sideways and know when to counterspell. But what is it that separates each of them from each other and from other pros? What are their special skill set? Let's find out.
Well, you guys are obviously all very accomplished Magic players, but I want to delve a little bit into what makes you specifically good at the game. What do you have that maybe some of the other pros out there don't have? What do you think?
I have one of the best secret weapons when it comes to Magic.
A brother?
It's called Brad Nelson. Yeah. Whenever you have Brad Nelson in your pocket, you just show up at
Cuando habla de los otros pros,
prepared.
como los otros promocionales.
Not all of us have that.
Well,
My sister doesn't play Magic. She's not going to tell me what to play at this Pro Tour, unfortunately. Well, I mean, you need to train her in and get her to get you some good decks.
Nuevamente están hablando con estos
But in all
tipos.
seriousness, you know, one thing that I think has set me aside is kind of comes outside of the game itself. Like, Brad taught me a lot when it came to creating a great plan beforehand and creating a good shell to a deck. So I never needed to be that role of creating the deck. I always took the role of thinking about specific cards that would be a good strategy for in and outs, like really fine-tuning a deck. And I feel like that is where, that's like my role in deck designing with Brad, and I think together we are a great team and we create some very good decks.
Yeah, you obviously are.
Yeah.
How about you, Javier?
How do you do it? Is it similar to Corey's process, where it's like, okay, how do I, like, what threats do I play? Like, how do you actually do that?
Well, I think the best thing to do is listen to people. Like, I'm not like the best guy to figure out break a format or just
Le mandamos un saludo a Desky que está mandando mensajes por interno, que todavía no entiende que estamos transmitiendo. Que no podemos...
And then use the information to just come up with.
Es que el abuelo no entiende de
So yeah, I
tecnología
think
mucho.
I'm just like approach. I have 10 minutes.
Le mandamos un saludito.
Give it information. Say things.
¿Todavía estás tapando Pokémon, bueno?
Gather information.
Viendo a
I'm a
Desky.
lot closer to that strategy than
¿Alguna
yours.
pregunta al
This
chat?
is why we're not world champions. We don't
¿Alguien? ¿Alguien? ¿Quieres saber algo? ¿Quieres saber si te gustan los netos
I've
este?
been told this a few times that I was
Sí,
given
que es
1
como la
mouth in 2
enciclopedia
years,
y
so if I listen twice as often, there's some like good
¿Tú?
correlation
No,
there. I still haven't figured that one out yet. I just don't ramble for days.
How about you? What's your specific skill set?
I think I'm closer to Javier in terms of like how I'm actually going to approach the process of I want to gather as much information as I can. Like I think it would be actually very useful if you and I ended up working together. I'm watching you guys build, you know, this is how I want to attack the format. And for me, it's,
Los abuelos no saben ni hablar, güey.
it's what are the threats? Okay, how am I lining up answers? So, for example, in this tournament, like we just saw Dante Vanguard have a breakout weekend last weekend, and spoilers, I was playing one that doesn't work out so well, as was I. And so, for a lot of it for me is what threats are people like, how do I answer them? For me, it's a lot of gathering information, going through every single player's deck list, talking to all of my friends, like, what do you like right now? How would you plan to beat this matchup? What cards do you want to play? Like, and then, you know, they're telling you, oh, I'm going to play this Planeswalker. And it's like, okay, well, now I need to beat that and these Planeswalkers. Like, if that is, you know, I think the teammates that I have are very smart. They're going to plan to do
Bueno, y aquí nos aburrimos.
Escuchando estos tres huevones.
I think that's very similar.
Esa agua que dice arriba 46 minutos 31 segundos.
¿Ya?
Es el tiempo que queda de ronda.
Parece, debería ser.
O sea, empezó la ronda y estamos viendo esta wea.
Claro, una wea así.
And then he
Puta,
absorbs
qué
it,
bien,
and
güey.
then 35 minutes later, he's like, oh, I have a perfect deck. Oh, I mean, have you seen the notebook? Yeah, I have, right? Then we have to do it through the notebook. He does, yeah. I don't know if I'm even allowed to speak of it. He just has a bunch of pages, he's constantly scribbling in different what matters in the matchups. Yeah.
No, pero no puede ser que nos estén transmitiendo las partidas y ya.
Para escuchar huevones más encima.
Para escuchar huevones.
Exacto, lo que
Aprenda a decir grabar.
¿Estás loca?
Awesome, thanks so much, you guys.
¿Estás loco?
Y ahí, y seguimos y arriba sigue mostrando que van. Ya han pasado 4 putos minutos que no hemos visto. Vamos a ver un juego como con 6 tierras.
No, lo peor es que entren a los guanes parados, ¿cachai? Porque van a transmitirlo que entren con la manito ahí, sacándose los mocos, mirándose uno al otro y pensando por la mierda. Chimoteando. Por la misma mierda, porque tenemos que pasar por esto.
Somehow he's managed to draw again. All the 11 threes very much in contention.
Wizard no solamente hace las cosas mal en la parte de negocio.
Wizard está todo mal, compadre. Wizard está como gallina sin cabeza, realmente.
Yeah, that's quite a possibility. I'm just looking at a number of 11 threes, and with 10, normally what you want to look at it is a division by 4 with 2 rounds to go. So like if we divide by 2, we want to look at people who have at least 12 wins looking into the next round. That's a lot of players. That is actually should we go 9 at least.
Should we go for the mathematical just assume that that's what may be coming in round 16. We can agree on that. We can also agree that the players
sí, pues no, de pelo, de pelo. La estamos pasando de pelo, sí.
Sí, abuelito.
No, weón, vamos a ver Magic. No.
No, y nos quedamos viendo los...
Vamos a ver Magic en el Pro Tour.
Weón, y siguen pasando publicidad. A mí no, esta weá ya me tiene...
Ya, ahora estos weones tienen que saludar, o sea, la weá va a partir como 10 minutos después de que partió la ronda. Básicamente, más o menos. Weón. Ya, ahí puse una subasta de cartas estándar si alguien quiere echar una mirada. Si no, no la miren, la verdad.
Lo repetimos
por si acaso.
Cristian,
¿Qué?
ahora no puedo tener dinero para hacer más rápido dormir.
Ah, no, pues el dinero hay que juntarlo. No sé cómo se junta el dinero. ¿Y cómo lo despierto?
Yo encendiendo la luz, así. ¿Apretas la luz? ¿Qué diferencia?
No, ¿qué pasó? Ah.
Pegándole también lo enciende a él.
¿Ya?
Volvimos, por fin.
Ya, anda,
es que está completamente vacía.
Ah, no sé, pues yo no sé jugar a eso.
Volvimos por fin. Qué chucha.
¿Viste que tienen los guanes parados?
Sí.
Hay una mesa ahí del Future Match que no tiene a nadie, no sé qué habrá pasado. Capaz que en los 10 minutos hayan terminado ya, pues weón.
No, los tendrían parados.
No, pues si no son los que van a transmitir, no, pues les da lo mismo.
Ah, puede ser. Claro, tocó un monored contra otro monored. Y mi error de monored se acabó en 10 minutos. Oye, yo no quiero ser racista.
Ah, no. Esa frase nunca he seguido por algo que termine bien. Por favor, adelante. Ya.
Pero ese güey es un chino colorín.
¿Cuál?
El chino colorín que
no lo alcancé a ver, pues bueno, los dos son aparentemente chinos.
¿Dai Jun Hao o Teruya Kakumai? Creo que Kakumai.
Giant spells like Venerated Lockstone and March of the Multitudes.
Qué linda las
I gotta
tierras.
say, I would not want to
Serena Tokens contra
I have seen this Lesnia
Red White
deck
Agro.
do its thing.
¿Por qué Red White? ¿Por qué no bonos?
Sí, no entiendo.
Tenemos atado todo el tiempo, ya estamos en el Pro Tour.
Mira la contradicción. Red White Agro contra Selenia Tokens. ¿Por qué no Green White Tokens entonces? Decíanse, ¿o todo el nombre del guild o...?
Puede ser el nombre con que incluyeron los mazos.
No, porque el bol le puede haber puesto un mazo chupa la que cuelga, igual para revisarlo lo ponen, lo agrupan todo en el mismo tipo de mazo, para la estadística y todo eso. Chain Wheeler blanco. Eso es aparición al turno 3. En curva. Cuando salió caballero, turno 3.
El turno 1 es más desaprovechado.
Avanzo bloqueando. No, atacando.
Claramente no cayó en la trampa de bloquear con el Chain Wheeler blanco. Igual era obvio que no iba a bloquear. Y aquí vamos a tener que sacar el violín más chiquitito del mundo
para Teruya Kakumai.
Para el chino colorín.
El chino colorín. Lamentablemente el chino colorín se lo pegaban dos
Mira, ¿viste
tierras.
que te dice la punta de la cabecita?
This is brutal.
5, 9, 10, 11. This
Ya.
13. That's exactly.
Ahora la vamos.
Oh my
Se
goodness.
quedó pegado en dos tierras y
For
fue
those of you
bueno.
just joining
Ahí
us,
está ahí.
walk away from your computer for a minute because
Y
this game
Garumae.
is over. That was
Kakumae.
Daejun Hao capitalizing
Hay que-
on a mana stumble from
Enfóquenlo,
Kakumae. I mean,
por
it was
favor.
just, I missed a land drop.
Mira, chivito que perdí.
Right. Yeah, and the
Por
thing
favor.
with this
Puta, que me
token
enfocan
stack
de la
is
mierda.
you need to continue to
Ahora hay gente en la mesa.
every single turn to kind of get to your lake in. If
Un jugador de Magic salvaje ha aparecido.
yeah, especially against a deck like this, why we need that. It's going to be over very, very quickly.
By the way, was that a turn 4 kill?
Yes. Turn 4 kill. History finale, you can't kill them until turn 5. Yeah, that was a turn 4 kill. I mean, he went 1, 2. No, it was
¿Te
turn
gusta
5.
este mazo así
I
como
believe.
Winnie con el clutch rojo?
It was basically
No te
turn
gusta.
3 kill because Takumi missed
Porque Defending Class no hace
All
nada.
right, well, game number 1 goes
Básicamente.
No es que te duela, te hace pico. Como todo tu weón y te da la raja.
Básicamente.
just go anywhere. We'll come back. We'll
Ya.
have more action.
Recuerden que si ustedes tienen un Benalita, un Chain Wheeler blanco, con el Deafening Clarion igual le matan todos los monos, que tengan monitos estrechos que le den el mono. Porque se muere.
Claro,
No sea huevón.
tiene que tener en juego dos venalitas para que se
Para que
salven uno
recién
de otro.
pase algo.
Para que se salven entre ellos. Tampoco implica que el resto de los buenos que estén en la mesa los van a poder salvar.
Claro. Y ojalá que no se los copien el Deafening Clarion.
Puta, ¿quién te hizo esa weá? Porque la he mencionado como 3 veces
No,
hoy día,
es
te
como-
traumó,
No,
weón.
es como una de las techs del mazo, weón.
Defending Clarion copiado.
Es uno de los motivos de por qué juega 4 Expansion. Expansion Explosion. Bueno, y como...
Déjale, alguien ya subastó el piso de mi subasta de pack estándar para poder deshacerme todas mis cartas.
Bueno, hay que decir que después de esperar 12 minutos para que volvieran a transmitir Magic, duró 5 y se fueron de...
Y volvimos a esperar.
Y nos van a volver a hacer todo, y que la ronda 14, y que la weá, y nos queda esta ronda y otro más, y se acabó.
No, son 16.
No, que el estándar de la ronda 14.
Estamos en la 15 ya.
Sí, porque si no, no podríamos tener el estándar de la
Es
14.
verdad. Tienes razón. ¿Para qué pregunto, bueno?
Vamos a averiguar cómo le fue a los muchachos.
Saludos para Matías que le puso like a mi post. Le dijo putativo como dice este otro.
Dijo, puta que-
¿Cuál es tu carta favorita de todos los tiempos de Magic?
Ya no habla.
¿Cuál?
Ah, no.
Con la que tú hayas jugado.
Sí.
No puede porque si no todos dirían, bueno, no sé.
Black
Black
Lotus.
Lotus, Ancestral Record, sí, obvio. Pero yo no alcancé a jugar con eso.
No,
Las que tú hayas
yo.
jugado.
De las que yo he jugado, me encantaba. No sé si la weá es la mejor carta, pero
No,
a mí me
pero la que
encantaba.
a ti más te guste.
Mirari.
Mirari. El artefacto por 5 se bajaba.
Por 5 o 4.
5. Y que activaba por 3, ¿o no?
Ya,
Y copiaba un instantáneo con juego.
que estuviera en la picha.
Sí. ¿Te gustaba Mirari?
Me gustaba el cartón.
Era simpático. Sí. No confundir con Mirari's Wake, que era un encantamiento verde-blanco. Te doblaba el maná y te daba más uno a tu criatura.
Vamos a buscarlo.
Mi carta favorita tiene que ser sin lugar a duda Tolarian Academy. Puta que era Barça esa tierra.
Vanguard. That's the ideal start.
We have figured out how to win on turn 4.
Originalmente de Time Spider,
Although
¿no?
it does require your
No,
opponent doing effectively nothing. Never
Mirari.
mind.
¿Sí?
De Odyssey.
Yeah, Magic's a lot easier when
Time
you're
Spider.
No, de Odyssey. Esas cartas de Time Spider con el símbolo morado eran tan time shifteadas de otra época.
Sí.
Sí, era de Odyssey. Ahí salió originalmente.
He's going to stem the bleeding at least a little bit, but Adonto Vanguard showing its colors here really strong.
surviving through a lot of the different types of removal that they have.
No land here
from Ellen Bogan.
¿En Time Spider?
No.
Follow that up with
No, dice.
a Sky Marcher Aspirant.
Sí, por eso no jugué.
Which gets Lava Coil.
No, pero ese juego me refiero
And
al
then Adonta
competitivo.
Vanguard. We've seen this thing go
No,
to
porque
distance
bueno,
before.
tú siempre puedes haber jugado con caca si quieres en cuando se juega.
De hecho, sí, la mayoría igual.
De hecho, es el símbolo de Odyssey. El símbolo de Odyssey es el Mirage.
Sí.
Sí, ¿viste, weón?
Era bonito el Mirage. Ahí,
dibujos, sí.
Y ahí va que el que quiera verlo lo vea. No vale nada hoy día, pero
no, probablemente no. A todo esto me dio como hambrecita. ¿Hay algo para comer aquí?
Y vamos a buscar la carta favorita de Scam. De saga de Ursa. ¿Qué era eso? Dando maná azul por cada artefacto que controlar. Buenos tiempos del Magic.
No, entonces aparte que la regla de la leyenda de esa época era distinta a ahora.
Ah, sí, si uno se la bajar en contra.
Cagá, y no podéis bajar las tuyas.
Y después se modificó que si uno bajaba una leyenda que ya estaba en juego, quedaba la tuya y la del otro se moría.
No, se morían las dos.
¿Las dos?
La primera cambio creo que fue ese, que tu leyenda pasaba a ser un removal de los dos.
Época donde uno se quemaba
con maná también.
Con maná. O sea, hay que jugar bien. Azor's Gateway hubiese sido una pésima. Sí, porque quemarse por la cantidad de vidas que tenía es un poquitito a juego, ¿no?
Genero 20 azules.
No hago nada.
Gasto 3, me pego 17.
Ellen Bogan also putting it together. He's like, wait a second, you paid 3 mana. Oh, electrocution, right.
Nuevamente.
Wow, this is impressive.
Esperando los buenos que tenemos.
That's really interesting because now Ellen Bogan
bueno,
has the option, and I think you just
una de Gaia.
I mean, they can certainly have to, but
en ese tiempo era barato.
because Yuya could also have just chosen to leave it
no,
back.
Era carísima, así como hoy día. O sea, hoy día vale $500.
Sí, pero para la época era una carta cara de Mike.
Sí. Igual tenía muchas posibilidades de mascarla con Estamos viendo una escena emocionante.
Yeah, and next turn, those one of the histories will go off, and Andrew will be able to tap for 8 with those 9 tokens, and that means that
estoy viendo la película.
Plays that Enigma Drake. Either he has the option of taking a bunch of damage, or he's going to have to trade off that Enigma Drake.
Estoy esperando ver al chino colorín, porque no lo mostraron.
El Boro contra Selesnya, no. Perdón, el Red White contra Selesnya. Habrá que esperar. Y aquí tenemos a Toreto. A Totoreto.
Quite a few spells that he'd be interested in casting this turn.
A Totoretengs.
Lava Coil. He could have played Lava Coil
Jason Tatam.
this turn.
Jason Tatam. Y al Tatam.
So, a little bit rough. And of course, anytime somebody draws multiple History of Benalias, life is just never easy.
El aprecio a la vida.
So you're going to get frisky again with this Adonta Vanguard.
Oh.
Wow.
Estoy muerto acá. Bueno, literalmente.
Ya. A mí me sorprende más que el hecho del Juan con el bus que se va a caer y el Juan tratando de salvarse, ¿no? El Juan se va a meter como un asalto táctico a un bus terrorista. Y el weón va con zapatillas, jeans y un polo con neta.
No, y el bus se cae súper lento como para que él pueda correr arriba de
Not really going to matter.
impresión.
Unless he can.
Como oye, cae súper lento. Este otro one en flash. A lo mejor no nos dimos cuenta.
Ese era el twist de la película.
Well, also he doesn't have a red source.
Right, there's numerous.
No, he has red mana in his deck, but he's
¿De casualidad viste Ted?
¿La de Losito?
Sí.
Sí.
Magistral. Hay que decirlo. Ahora que mencionaste a Flash Gordon.
¿Y viste la volador?
Magistral.
Cuando la guana se caga en la alfombra.
Las putas. Estábamos jugando a verdad o desafío y esta buena es hardcore.
Eligió desafío
y es hardcore.
Y lo hizo.
No, usted es magistral. Cuando le echa la puteada a un del supermercado y el buen lo contrata y después lo asciende, es como bueno.
Dauntless Bodyguard.
So, yeah, definitely.
Is that another mystery?
Wow.
Wow.
Man.
All of the knights.
Spell Pierce though to counter it. Boy, that little interaction there might be what Yuya needs to scrap his way back in this game. It still seems like it's going to be an uphill climb for him.
Look at this, though. He's got double lava coil. He can just kill both of these knights.
And just blank the third history. Wow. Yuya Watanabe looking to the future. And once again, he's getting attacked.
Yeah, Andrew's like, what's going on here? Why do you keep attacking me with this thing?
Stop attacking me, Yuya. He just keeps taking it.
Yep.
And then there's double lava coil.
Yeah, and that negates the pump effect of this Benalia, so Yuya might
Sé que ya no va a pasar porque ya pasó mi cuarto de hora. Ya tuve mi oportunidad de ir y no la... Pues ella ahora está en un ProTour.
Ya.
Y estar en cámara, no le aguantaría esta weá. O sea, le diría solo, me importa un pico, pero yo no tengo por qué estar esperando lo que no hay. Permiso.
Yeah, I don't think Andrew expected that spell pierce because he did have the option of just deploying creatures over there instead, but instead chose to go with the history of Benalia because the other one was he had another one in play that was.
¿Qué pasa si
and the way looked clear?
El papelito que tenéis que firmar ahí?
Goblin Electromancer anymore? Just the one mana up? What's the worst thing?
Contrato específico para esto.
Oh, and there's a Crackling Drake.
No creo que sea tan específico, creo que dice que permitís que transmitan, ¿no?
Looks like he's starting to take
control. A ver, aquí Diego.
Andrew Ellenbogen does need a way to deal with the Drake.
Hace rato ya se nos fue, que no estábamos. Puso cabros, ¿admiran algún pro player actual o que le tengan cariño por la weá que sea?
¿Admiran algún pro player?
Sí. ¿Tú admiráis alguno?
Yo nunca he admirado a ningún pro player.
Yo tampoco admiro a algún pro player. Así como específico, hay varios que conozco, varios que me dan risa.
Soy suficientemente capaz de darme cuenta que Kaibur es lejos el mejor jugador de Magic de todos los tiempos.
¿Ya?
Y que John Finkel anda por ahí de atrás pisando los talones.
¿Ya?
Y quizás en la época cuando jugaba Magic antes era más chico y no había este acceso a internet y esta weá, y de repente como que te llegaba información y Kaibur había hecho un mazo nuevo, como cuando hizo un mazo rebelde. Era como, bueno, puta, este bueno es bacán, pero nunca sentí así como admiración. Pero yo nunca siento admiración por ningún weón. O sea, ni por deportista, ni actor, ni futbolista. Porque es un tipazo, pero no lo admiro. ¿Sabes lo que significa admirar? ¿Qué significa admirar? Busca la definición en la RAE de admirar.
Te voy a comentar esto en cámara. Stone se dejaría penetrar analmente por Tom Cruise.
No, eso es mentira. Eso es mentira.
Eso lo digo.
No, eso es mentira. He dicho que es un tipazo nomás. Es un tipazo. Es un tipazo.
De verdad vamos a negar las cosas que hemos dicho.
Es un tipazo. Pero no te juegan también.
Bueno, así no se puede seguir. Cuando no se niega.
Yo he dicho que vos te debían mandar a Guantánamo, pero no estás hablando en serio. A no ser que además después te mandan a Guantánamo.
Por lo peligroso.
Por lo talibán.
Bueno, pero desde mi perspectiva no. Hay algunas cosas que me dan risa porque en realidad, como de tu Ray Duke, cosa que su corte de pelo es notable. Notable. Es He-Man, es el Little Magic He-Man. ¿Cachai?
Eso o sea, la gente que conoció, que podía hablar con Ray Duke y todo eso, dicen que es como buena onda.
¿Qué pasa?
El Bond es como un team especial con... de los tres que se pusieron como las pilas y de ahí viene Ray Duke con Ninja Turtle y William Jensen. Y se supone que William Jensen ahora no está jugando porque lo sacaron para ser uno de los consultores, estos, los tres magos de los pro players que iban a arreglar el circuito de los Pro Tour. Pero William Jensen cuando vino en 2001 al primer GP de Chile, ¿qué pasó, hijito?
Yeah, I think he's considering attacking with this hard late Phoenix because he is not dead on board.
Es que ese también está vacío.
Entonces juega otra cosa y espera que se llene, pero no sé cómo se hace. Yo nunca he jugado este juego. William Jensen cuando estuvo acá en 2001 fue como conversar un poco con él de manera súper buena onda, piola.
Es que igual hay que tener consideración con eso, es gente normal que le va bien en un juego. Creo que hay que tomar la proporción de que esto no te hace famoso.
No es solo eso, sino que bueno, aquí en Chile sobre todo hay un carete de buenos que son ultra levantados de raja porque les va bien en el maíz y no son capaces de admitir que una agua que tiene un factor de juego increíble. O sea, creo que fue por Richel o otro de los pro players que como que le preguntaron así como una vez, así como esas típicas preguntas, así como ¿cuál es el secreto para estar tanto tiempo en el Pro Tour y la weá? Y igual simplemente dijo, tener buena weá. Listo, no nada más.
Oh, is he gonna do it? Is he gonna look at? Oh, I wanted to do it. He had 2 V's in his sideboard.
Y hay que admitir también y ser suficientemente...
Quiero jugar Batman Evo.
Diego Navarro dice, según ustedes, ¿cuáles son los 3 mejores jugadores de Chile?
Sorry, antes de la siguiente pregunta, hay que darse cuenta también que... ¿Cómo se llama? Porque se me fue la idea. Que Wizard, porque a propósito ha hecho también que la cueva cada vez sea un factor más grande. Como que antes el juego era más complicado de aprender y tenía como interacciones más complicadas. Tenía interacciones más complicadas y que de repente si te iba una cosa, un trigger, era como más complicado. Pero ahora cada vez como que es más fácil, bueno, lo mismo que si juegas arena, o sea, los triggers no solo se te acomodan, se te recuerdan solo, sino que se te acomodan en la pila, en el orden correcto. Entonces como que cada vez que la habilidad es menos necesaria y el factor juega es más importante, ¿no?
Sí.
Eso. ¿Cuál es la otra pregunta, por favor?
Según ustedes, ¿cuáles son los 3 mejores jugadores de Chile? Yo creo que podemos estar claros en quién es el mejor por una cosa de historia nomás.
Hay que ver quién ha tenido más logros, ¿no?
Que sería
¿Es el rubio, ese es el chino colorín?
Sí.
¿Es colorín? No, colorín no es po' hueón, es como un castaño.
Perdón, castaño rojizo, número tanto,
Cuando dijiste colorín pensé que era como Ronald McDonald el hueón.
No, pero...
sí, yo creo que es fácil ir a verlo.
O sea, sería el de Echeverría.
Sí.
El que quedó 9 en un Pro Tour.
El segundo yo creo que sería Barney.
¿Barney?
¿Barbie?
Barney. No, Barney.
¿Qué?
Y de ahí ya tercero no sé quién sería.
¿Barbie?
Realmente habría que ir a ver quién ha ido más Pro Tour, quién ha ido mejor los Pro Tour. Eso.
Bueno, un saludo a Barney si nos está viendo, Matías Toscano. Así que nos está viendo por ahí.
Ya ha estado bañado un tiempo, pero...
Sí. A lo mejor eso le falta a Manfield.
¿Bañarlo?
Bañarlo.
No bañarlo.
Con ella.
¿Qué le falta a Manfield?
Claro, un baneo pero con ella. Y bañarlo.
¿Bañarlo?
¿Qué le falta a Manfield?
Eso.
Bañarlo.
I'm sure Kakuma is happy with that exchange too, right? He played a creature, removed the creature, and still has a 1/1 lifelinker, whose body is actually still very relevant on this board.
Yeah, also he does run 3 copies of Amara in the deck, so that makes those live as top decks as well.
Right.
Bueno, y para Para Diego, le repetimos a él la pregunta, según él, ¿cuáles son los mejores 3 jugadores de Chile desde su apreciación? Y si él admira algún pro player. El cara pedófilo.
El cara pedófilo.
A la maiga, a los mojococos.
A la Melissa Torá. Melissa Torá. Puras cartas de mierda en la mano de Kakumai. ¿Te gusta Emara? No, parece que
no, en realidad no le encuentro. Vuelvo a repetir mi palabra favorita. No lo encuentro sustancioso. Encuentro que para que haga algo tiene que no hacer nada.
No, porque hay que instalarlo y no son de quedó.
Es una 2-2 que no sirve para bloquear ni para atacar.
Juega Spider-Man. Mira, espera que termine esto y te instalo el tiro.
Un poco sustanciosa, weón.
¿Emara?
Porque, por ejemplo, para que sea buena, no tiene que atacar. Para que sea buena,
tiene que tapearse por un
convocar o...
Trostani.
Hice una carta que yo encuentro relativamente buena.
¿Trostani?
Sí, porque por 5 ponís 5 de fuerza, 8 de resistencia. ¿Cachai? Aparte que el efecto se expande para los otros monos. Encuentro que es buena. No es una bomba. Si te sale, no es la bomba que va a solucionar el juego, pero es una carta que con el coste de maná que tiene hace la pega.
Quiero jugar Crash Bandicoot para de nadar.
Etapa de nadar.
Porque hay unas castañas que cuando yo salgo ahí, ellas casi me atrapan. Pero cuando estoy quieto, ellas me atrapan.
We might see Kakume just get aggressive here and send them all in.
Yeah, I mean, if he gets settled, it's not even that bad. He's going to have like 12 lands now, which means any threat that he draws, he's going to be able to play and to also make 1/1 with Legion's landing.
How looks like he wants to block one of the lifelink soldiers, but he's going to remain patient here because Kakume does not attack at all.
¿Hay algo de Selenia que te gusta?
13 for Teju now.
And yeah, we're at the point where Kakume not only has a better
Una pregunta. Hay algo de Selenia que me guste.
What if he draws
Encuentres interesante o que te llame la atención.
attack with all those creatures for lethal. So this is a very, very powerful card, powerful option that the Silesian decks have. They have the additional ability to smooth out their draws with a card like this, which is an extremely low cost to put into your removal.
Así como el concepto de como mazo, no, nada.
Low cost.
Cartas sueltas puede ser que la encuentre buenas, pero...
¿Alguna sinergia interesante dentro del mazo?
No, porque las únicas como sinergias son como convocar, pero...
Separating out the various lifelink tokens, which all effectively do the same thing. I don't think there are any tribal rewards in this Silesian tokens deck.
Okay, here's 5 creatures, and now it's time for Settle the Wreckage.
Chucha, un setter por 5.
And look at this, Teruya Kakume is like, sweet.
Eso es lo que hablábamos delante. No sé qué tan conveniente es hacer eso con un mazo como Selenia Token. Porque
lamentablemente, claro, lamentablemente para los buenos es como más necesario.
Yeah, it's interesting. It's
Al final de cuentas le dais 5 tierras, lo que se va a traducir en 5 nuevos monitos en un minuto.
I'm not dead, actually. But long-term planning-wise, the Settle the Wreckage may backfire.
Look at all those lands. Oh, man.
Now, does he have a copy? He's got Knight of Autumn in his hand? Okay.
Baño.
Oh, and he also has History of Benalia. Boy, he's going to be able to
Get all.
I wonder if he's gonna go aggressive here. Is he just gonna play out a large knight of bottom, or is he just gonna hold it in his hand in case Teijin Hao plays something like for example, how can Kakame lose here? Experimental Frenzy? Maybe that's one of the cards he could be concerned about.
Where he does want to keep applying pressure.
Right, and if that's the type of card that you're concerned with, maybe you hold it. But nope, Kakame wants to close the door here and just go with the beatdown plan.
That's exactly what he's going to do. He plays Knight of Autumn, chooses the +1/+1 counters mode on that, and passes a turn back.
By the way, Knight of Autumn, not a big surprise, but it's a knight. You get that little, you get the pump effect from that History of Benalia.
Tick tock. Teijin Hao's down to 13 life. Adanto, the first fort, also going for Teruya Kakame, so he can continue to make tokens. Of course, he has a ton.
I just kind of want to see if March continues. I know it's a little bit overkill, but having opponents plans goes after acceptable refuge.
¿Qué hay que hacer?
Tienes que hacerlo hacia abajo, dice la mano.
That was a quick and easy win in game number 1. It's been an uphill climb from almost, I guess.
He draw Frenzy?
He's played an untapped.
This must be Experimental Frenzy. No, it's not.
Well, it must be both of those.
Oh,
right?
it is Experimental. It has to be,
it's
right?
Conclave Tribunal plus that. Otherwise, why the untapped land? There it is. Experimental Frenzy.
This is the way Teijin Hao can claw back into this game. Teruya Kakame did play out that Knight of Autumn. Through the perfect card.
Yes, talk about the perfect card.
¿Tenemos la luz suficiente?
No sé.
That's the easy about Kakame. Come on, man.
Al parecer sí, todavía nos vemos. Cuando ya esto se empieza a poner más oscuro, prenderemos la luz.
Oh, and look at this. He's going to
Va a ser hora de mandarlo a
city here. He's going to get a 2-1 out of the deal. That's going to enter the battlefield and then still destroy.
Sí, que en realidad ya
And I see lands getting
una
picked
ronda
up.
más.
una ronda más y no sé qué tanto más,
And we're going to
¿Está el
get
azul? Sí, estaba por allá.
qué tanto más puede
It's
avanzar.
just never easy, right? Like, Teijin Hao is down.
Realmente el ProTour ha estado bien
Get
fome.
this done.
Sí, ojalá que el top 8 mañana esté bueno. Nosotros no vamos a transmitir el top 8. Pero ojalá que esté bueno.
El fanatismo no va a matar.
No, de hecho quizás debería haberlo organizado y transmitir solamente. Pero
Para el próximo programa.
Ultimately, I think it's a little bit of a poor
Para
matchup.
el próximo ProTour es mejor organizarse y también
Power
sobre
of
todo.
Experimental Frenzy in matchups where people can't interact with it.
Tienes razón.
You're now
Cuando
playing
tienes razón,
against the
tienes
Celestial
razón.
deck. It's got all sorts of answers. It's got
Cuando
Knight of
no tienes
Autumn,
razón,
it's got Conclave
tienes razón.
Tribunal. So it's really difficult
Pronto vamos a subir el video de la controversia de Diablo.
sí, lo hemos tenido suspendido porque hemos hecho demasiado.
Not the same record.
Ahora que tenemos la cámara mejorada para las cartas, vamos a ver si hacemos el video de las cartas falsas.
Sí,
Papá, tengo algo que te va a molestar.
¿Qué?
Judge
¿Ya?
there some way. But at any rate, Jeremy Desani looks like he is in firm control here. Nearing the permanent on the side of the battlefield for Mahara outside of land. And 3 creatures attacking for Desani. It looks like there may be a discussion about whether he can or cannot transform his legion's landing. Perhaps he
Ah,
forgot.
estás ni cebolla.
mañana.
Tai, Kakumae van empatados.
No quiere.
No tiene batería.
¿Qué cosa?
Que quiero usar. Es que no tiene carga, quiero usarlo.
A ver, una de esas préstame el cable, a ver si con esto se carga.
En el de
I
las
don't know if
Sí, a ver.
Mihara
No,
was
ese
aware
tipo
that
C,
Legious Landing was in play.
Oh, maybe would have preferred.
Oh, it would have been much better
Tiene
had
lados,
he removed
This
had he
pre-combat.
removed either the Adanto Vanguard. You can't mentor onto the Vanguard though, right? Isn't it?
Que hace una cosa por hacer, ¿qué
When it's
cosa?
attacking?
¿Jugar Crash?
¿Cuál
Yes.
crash? Ya, toma.
You cannot stack the traders. Adanto
Déjame
Vanguard
ver
when it
el
attacks
diagrama.
it's just the 3-1. So
Crash.
I don't think you can put a counter on Adanto Vanguard.
Para
Vanguard
Crash.
is
But
attacking.
rush.
It gets +2.
So we should try to
Mario Bros.
Cuidado.
yeah.
Ya lo pongo.
Mario Rock.
Los de Friends.
Right, so there's some type
Espérate,
of
no,
effect
tiene que
that
salir
say
otro juego,
when
mira,
it
ahora sí.
Right, and then there may be a triggered ability that would then have to resolve before it gets it. But
Mario Ross. ¿Qué más se viene? La otra semana vamos a tener, ojalá,
el sobre de Ultimate Box Topper.
el sobre de Ultimate Box Topper. ¿Qué más? Un video de cómics, ojalá.
Porque algo pasó en DC.
Si el one que se encarga de los
me tiene en suspenso el...
Deja ese juego ahí si eso no es para jugar. El one que se encarga de los cómics se pone las pilas.
Claro. Al parecer, la cajita de dulce, las figuritas no les han llamado la atención, así que
vamos a probar con cosas nuevas.
Vamos a probar con otras cosas.
Carlos va a hacer un striptease en vivo. ¿No?
No. No va para tanto. Tengo el pene pequeño.
I don't see the wild growth walker, which tends to be one of his best ways at a deck like this. It allows him to gain life.
No, está hace calor aquí.
I'm still wondering about that. I wonder if Bihar, again, we're just doing a live look inside. It feels like you really wanted to fire off that removal to the three creatures attacking so that the Allegiance landing would have flipped. So I think that might have been a mistake, but we definitely could be missing something there.
No. Ahí va a empezar por eso.
Right in the middle of players to hold for those types of
¿Qué pasó?
In the meantime, Zani, he's playing one way. Attack, 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 attack. Everything in the red zone. Math is for blockers. You figure it out, Mahara. Here's two blockers.
It's a shit connect.
And so
making 5 and dropping
Por
down
eso
7, no.
la cosita no está en el control, por eso el control no funciona.
But he now has gotten the Boris Challenger.
Aprieta el botón, hijo de Dios.
¿Cuál?
No, al play. Al medio, sí, hay un poquito más arriba.
Card would be like Golden Demise, as it would be able to cleanly sweep everything on the battlefield. Not sure if he has that.
Ahí sí.
Banana.
¡Listo! Manzana.
Banana en pijama.
Banana en pijama.
La ronda 15 ha durado como 3 horas.
Sí. Porque ahora nuevamente hay que esperar que otros jugadores terminen. Ahora se empezaron a Zani con Mihara. Algo le pasó al play.
Eso solo se tiene que instalar, ¿no? Solo de fauna. Una nomás, ¿cierto?
Bueno, Kaliski va con 27 puntos hasta la ronda 14.
Ya, esos son 9, ¿no? 9 por 27. Sí.
9-5.
Y
Echeverría quedó 8-6. Lo que implicaría que no hay posibilidad alguna de que entren al top.
¿Dónde tienes la cosita?
No sé dónde que joder la busco.
Tú también, Juan Carlos.
¿Qué?
Aprieta el botón.
O sea, que el equipo máximo podría hacer 11. Ganando la 15 y la 16, sería con 11. 11 wins.
Out of the way, because I feel like one of the ways you lose is if Mahara somehow untaps and plays a couple of explore creatures and kind of claws back in with the left roll.
I'm pretty excited that Jeremy Zani paused this long. Thinking anything super quick. Remember, Mahara's tapped out, so he's just like, hey.
Oh, and there's a lead landing, which will. Is he ascended now?
¿Qué dice?
He's got 4.
Problema,
he's ascended now, so the Sky Marcher Aspirant now has flying. And he can also still use the token from the Legion's Landing, tap 3 of his mana, to use Conclave Tribunal on the Wild Growth Walker, and then get him for a big attack here. He can attack with both the Adanto Vanguard and the Sky Marcher Aspirant because he's ascended.
This feels like Jeremy Zani moving just a step or 2 away from victory here. That was a big turn for him. Conclave Tribunal, take away the really powerful Wild Growth Walker that we just mentioned. And maybe take away the outs that Mahara had. No, I was wrong. He has finality.
Oh.
Wipe the board. Boom.
Finality.
Land finality. And
Seguimos
that means
tirando
in chapter
chicle.
3 does nothing.
Y...
Although Jeremy had the plan though. He said, you know what? I'm ready.
No, espera.
I'm ready for that. I've got
He needs another
Benalia con Adanto
Kind
Bangor.
of does, doesn't he?
Y aguantan 5, o sea, si se comen los 2 ataques, pierde.
Tight one.
Thank you.
Oh, I see a split card in Mihara's hand.
Makihito Mihara.
Well,
Mijito Mihara.
Right.
and it looks like it's going to be Vivian Reed.
Oh, well,
Mira, papá. Mi pez.
okay.
And he can get
Pero no se trae.
Por su movimiento.
Which does give him a
Ma,
blocker.
bye, Brandy.
Epa.
Okay, yeah,
Papá, dame
he's
el
the cow as
Y
well. So
ganamos
once
bien.
again, Mahara is going to
O no, ganó el elfo 1-3.
Estoy listo, papá. Dame.
hanging on by a thread. He needed that finality.
¿Qué hizo
Now he needs to go spell.
la
Y
Planeswalker
para abajo.
para
And if he
destruir qué?
can manage to
Cónclave.
¿Ya?
Devolvió al Walker.
The card in his hand.
¿Ya?
Thought it
Y
was
bajó un elfo
finality.
1-3 parece.
Sí.
But now, I mean, he might be on the verge of stabilizing. He's got that
Espera que
Wild
empiece.
Walker. He's got that Vivian in play.
Yeah.
So
No,
if
me
he
estoy
can find
pidiendo
something
yo
like
después.
J-Light Ranger. Again,
Sí,
keep in
quiero
mind, he has that
decirte
Memorial to
algo.
Folly still on the battlefield. He can get back a J-Light Ranger and gain 6 life with the double Explore trigger.
boy, his last card, his finality, he is setting this up beautifully.
Apriétale.
Pasó.
Block a knight, he
Pues
can
está
jump
coche.
block the Vanguard.
Puesta, escuché,
Counters on the Wild
escuché.
Growth Walker, and
¿No se ha
once
instalado?
again, blank
Sí, se
history
instaló.
of Benalia's third chapter completed.
Algo está dañado el disco.
¿Papá?
If that's what he
Sí,
has.
man.
Now, if it's not, well, he's got a lot of work to do.
He's
but
still got that backup plan that I
it
talked
does.
about.
The J-Light Ranger plan still works. And can you imagine if he gets to do this and still keep Vivian Reed as well? He
Yeah.
can get to go nuts. All right, here it is. He's untapping.
No lee el disco.
Okay, now he is.
There you go. What is that card?
No lo quiere echar por fuera tampoco.
It's a split card. It has to be blind finality. First, he's going to pluck.
Cuidado, cuidado,
Jeremy
cuidado.
Nazani, all he can do is look on. He's got nothing going. Mahara finds a forest. Nazani says, okay, that's not going to be bad. But wait for it.
¿Y lo pusieron?
Sí, si está dentro del disco, ese es el problema.
Sí, eso es como grande.
Eso tiene bastante se reseñó solo.
I asked it. Like, what?
Forest.
I mean, the stakes are high.
No.
Mihara just just wants to make sure he doesn't mess any of this up. And maybe it's not. Maybe like nobody plays status statue, right?
No, they sure don't. But what they do
I
play
was like, what was he waiting for?
is finality.
Oh,
And he
tiró un
finally
finality, le
runs
puso
it
los dos
out there.
contadores al...
Jeremy Nazani shoulder
Walker.
slumped a little bit
¿Ya?
because
Y
this was
juegue.
a massive play for Makahito Mahara.
Y juegue.
Wow,
juegue.
double finality.
¿Se va a dar vuelta de San?
Sí, se va a dar vuelta.
¿Se va a dar vuelta?
Yeah, I'm going to assume that Mihara's going to be able to clean up the mess here, and I will keep you updated on that. But we got to get back to our main table where we have Teiju and Powell playing against Surya Kakame, and they are ready and waiting.
Yeah, given that he does still have that option of getting back to J-Light Ranger and kind of gauge 6 life along with that Vivian Reed in play, it seems extremely unlikely. You can only sandbag so many creatures.
¿Viste? ¿Se tenía alguna raya?
Twice often when you're playing that aggressive deck. I mean,
¿Estaba
that's
cochino?
pretty much
¿Por qué no lo viste?
Que me debo cuenta.
Wow. Ow.
Oh, and Teju now with
Me
the,
dolió.
I mean, actually getting punished
Tengo una
here.
herida.
Aquí hay una pregunta en el chat.
¿Cuál?
¿Por qué a Stone le gusta tanto el nepe?
¿Qué preguntó?
Tokens late game is superior. He did not have a 1 or 2 drop.
¿Tú preguntas? ¿Verdad?
Juan
¿Qué está diciendo,
Carlos,
Tino?
¿de
¿Qué?
qué son tus parches?
¿Qué?
¿De qué superhéroes son tus parches?
¿Qué parche?
This is the ideal start
No
here
sé.
for Takumi.
No
He's
sé
only
de qué
got
parche
the
estaba
3
hablando.
copies
De
of
Capitán
each and his
Calzoncillo.
1 mana option, so going 1 mana into Mara
¿Qué
is
parche?
exactly
No
the
sé.
type of start that he wants.
Parches para ponerse cuando tienes heridas.
Ah, parche curita.
Ah,
Parche curita.
pero no tengo parche curita.
¿Por qué?
Porque no. No sé, no tengo.
Un burrito.
I wonder if Kakame is going to look to do something similar that he did in the previous game, which is offer the trade with Amara and make a token.
¿Qué?
¿Cómo dijiste?
No, gordita cachipur.
Gordita cachipur. What?
So Mahara, by the way, on our other table is now attacking with the Wild Growth Walker. That's a pretty good sign.
Yeah.
It's
No
nice
metas mano tú.
for the life totals, and they're swinging back towards Makihito Mahara. That was on the table that we just had to leave. Do apologize for that, but we're kind of down the stretch on the round here. We were holding our main table. Here's Flower now for Teruya Kakame.
Cacha, pues weón, le quedan 25 minutos a la ronda, weón. De 4. ¿A dónde? Esa weón es mentira. Tú sabes, yo sé.
Todos sabemos.
Todos sabemos.
¿Cómo alargar un torneo innecesariamente?
You must have another play this
Es como esos torneos que te cobran más caro porque te dan a dar una bebida.
Yeah, so that means next turn he's going to be able to flip that.
Sí, po weón, ¿por qué te cobran algo que vos no pediste?
And
Si no tiene que ver con Magic.
chose not to trade.
En vez de darte hora de almuerzo,
Able
weón.
to actually attack again. Next turn. Wait, is this a tribunal too?
Pollo. Vaya, pollo, vaya.
¿No lo has notado que ahora último
I think he's
los
going to use his
eventos de
tribunal just to get
pre-release
rid of a
es
token.
prácticamente que te llevan al carnaval, weón, para que
Exactly
vos
what he
jugues?
did.
And look at his hand. He's got 5 creatures on the battlefield with March of the Multitudes as well.
Espérate, hijito.
Espérate, tonto.
All right, and I can confirm that Mahara was able to finish off that match and win the game there. So he has
No está funcionando, hijo, no sé qué pasó.
Jeremy Dizani 2 games to 1 and improved to 12-3, knocking Jeremy. Now, this is interesting. He's at 11-3-1.
So he still might have a chance. We still need to figure out all the tie breaks. Historically, 12-3-1 is a record that's good enough to top 8 the Pro Tour. However, this is the largest individual Pro Tour of all time.
¿Por qué lo desinstalar en no?
And given that,
Eso tiene que hacer.
all the math that we've learned before might not actually be the case for
Te
this.
acabo un error.
Heroic reinforcements now for Teichin Houses. Well, maybe we do actually have a race on our hands here.
Yeah, but you're not racing.
Y más peor, exactamente.
Yeah, there's the March of the Multitudes. I mean, Teruya can just make, let's see, so he's got 5 creatures, 2, 3, he can make 6 tokens by convoking March of the Multitudes, and then of course, by tapping Amara for the convoke ability, he'll be able to make an additional token. But it looks like he's actually going to sandbag the March and go for an even bigger number here, and just attack with just enough to flip Leech's Landing.
Another update, by the way, for those of you who've been with us for a few minutes, Yuya Watanabe playing against Andrew Ellen. Yuya won.
Oh, okay.
That's a big one there. That's 12-3 for Yuya Watanabe.
Wow.
He's going to be paying very close attention to the standings for that last round. Might find himself in yet another top 8.
So now to run out the Vivian. Yeah, Vivian Plus is fairly safe here, as he has Teruya Kakame has plenty of chump blockers here. Even if Teichin now has to spell, maybe heroic reinforcements might mess things up a little bit. But look, got the 9 of Autumn here too, just in case Tay tries to do something with Experimental Frenzy or Conclave Tribunal. Just has all the answers. I mean, it feels like the Celestia tokens was just custom built to beat down on these quite aggressive decks.
I've been seeing this in the feature match area all weekend long. Every single time this matchup comes up, it just seems like such a slog for the red-white deck. They just present so many answers, and in the meantime, just a million creatures there to make sure their life total stays higher, that you don't have good attacks.
Yeah, I mean, Sapperling Migration is just a very good card to play that deck. It's able to just trade with a ton of the different one-drops that the white deck can play.
Ah, pero es que no lo va a leer nunca.
¿Por qué?
Porque tiene cebo, ni siquiera una...
Tiene cebo.
No es algo ni siquiera normal.
Paul, but I just feel like
Pero no está el disco.
No, primero si funciona en Spider-Man.
A ver si no quedó con la consola.
Yeah, more lands,
No tenía cebo.
more creatures,
Lo toma
a
esto.
planeswalker in hand, and a better late game strategy.
Tú no tienes que tomar los discos de Play, hijo. ¿Ya?
So Kakume's going to trade off a couple of tokens.
El Spider-Man funciona, ¿no quieres jugar Spider-Man?
Quiero jugar más Candy Crush.
Como Crash y Candy Crush juntos.
Candy Crush.
Veamos si funciona así.
I guess I will.
One of those classic I'm so far ahead and sometimes you just miss little. No, but the thing is, little things sometimes get missed when you feel like you can't possibly lose. That's true. I mean, the stakes are certainly high here, but despite that slight misstep, Kakume's still very firmly in the lead. He's got that Knight of Autumn. Which is...
Ya, después de estar tratando de solucionar los problemas técnicos del Crash Bandicoot, ¿qué está pasando en Mai?
¿Y funcionó?
No, todavía no, la última vez también llegó hasta esa parte.
Once again, another activation up with Vivian Reed. And she's probably the card that makes the difference in this match. Is a source of card advantage that Taejun Hao just doesn't have access to. The only card in his deck is to get him this far ahead on cards, and that's not going to stay around.
And the only answer that the white aggro decks have against
the
Celestia deck just has so many different ways to remove its own tribunals and also Knight of Autumn.
¿Qué dice?
Loading.
Y Crash Bandicoot. Crash
Bandicoot.
Surya, happy with this trade again?
Crash Bandicoot. Quiero ir
And I was actually looking at
Yo estaba remasterizado.
al reino de allá.
Made the conversion
A ese reino.
Celestia tokens
¿A
actually
ese?
have the highest
No, al otro reino.
¿A ese?
No, al otro reino.
¿A ese?
Sí.
70th percentile.
I've been very impressed by
Sí,
this
esto
deck.
está remasterizado.
Not just
Está rebatizado.
Sí, es bastante mejor que lo que se ve
En
en
el
la
mundo de hielo hace frío, ¿cierto?
Sí.
Pollo.
leverage.
¿Por
You know, the
qué?
difference to me is Vivian Reed, right? Like you've
¿Ah,
seen
yo?
similar board
Sí.
states
¿Sabes?
of these decks, but the difference is that
¿Eres fan de Crash?
sitting around just powering
¿No te
out
gusta Crash?
card after card and also being
te gusta Mario?
catch-all for a bunch of
Arriba,
Sammy.
arriba.
of these
Sammy, Mario.
cards like
It's
this
me,
and
Mario.
any of the dreams.
The fact that she also deals with flyers is extremely relevant in this format.
Very much so. And then if there isn't anything on the other side, boom. Look at this.
No me gusta Mario.
Knights of Autumn now.
Pero los Knight of Autumn haciendo
Can't mess with these decks. And
estrago.
Knight of Autumn, I think
¿Qué?
the third one now.
Que los Knight of Autumn le permitieron desencantar el cónclave.
I wonder at this point if he's going to pass and just try to make
Sacar acá el paño amarillo para.
Ya, pues, papá.
Toma, hijo.
El paño amarillo.
Sí.
Poneme la tapa.
¿Cuál?
Esa.
No, la del principio te va a poner.
Acabamos de perder un paño amarillo.
¿Esa?
Se suicidó desde el balcón para abajo.
No reason to rush.
Donde yo estaba, ¿cierto?
Cierto.
Yeah, I mean, Terraria has this all but locked up.
Toma.
Bandicoot.
Team Musashi.
Crash Bandicoot.
They'll get you. They've got a lot. Remember, Yuya Watanabe also plays for Team Musashi, and he already
No se
won
juega nada.
his
O sea,
national. So
pero
he's
mejor
12-3. It's eyeballing that top.
They
Papá,
could have 2 players in the top 8.
tome el reloj.
No, not only that.
Sube el volumen que no escucho
Un
nada.
poquito no.
Toma.
Yeah. Maximum heart
No
rate.
escucho nada.
Ya hay
La máscara.
música de
I wonder
fondo
if
de.
Taze just goes, you know what, I know
Crash.
you have Vivian, Knight of Autumn. Maybe I use this frenzy to just draw a couple of cards.
Se lo ponen en el medio ejército y todavía no es capaz de matar a otro asiático. Qué chucha, weón. La barra del panza ya está. Que no puede estar más para el lado de él.
Now you feel the
Y.
pain of playing a low to the ground aggro deck here on turn 12 or whatever.
Right.
Here's my one
Porque aquí llegamos a lo que estábamos hablando ayer.
Wow, three Kakume.
Que los matches son súper empantanados.
Sí.
Most likely
Que él, si él tiene hartos monitos, son todo uno, corneta, entonces si ataca queda en desventaja.
We're going to see a victory.
Y va a tener la ventaja mientras esté parado porque el otro one tampoco lo puede atacar.
Are we really? Oh, there's
Ah, aquí se puso coqueto.
¿Qué hizo?
Bajó
this one is just
una...
not done.
He just
Total.
has all of the
Se la
things.
bajó, la vio con la vida en Rick.
O sea, claro. Más encima si le llega a poner el emblema de la vida en Reed, ya está
El
guay.
emblema, mira, lo vi.
Ahí se acaba.
Trostani.
+2/+2. Vigilance. Trample.
Ya por eso no ataca el Kakumae, porque su plan es defender la vida andina hasta que le ponga emblema. ¿A los cuántos el emblema de la vida andina? A los 8.
¿Están 8?
Según yo, está como en 6.
Papá, ¿cuál camino quieres que tome?
El de la derecha.
¿Ese?
Sí, es.
Are you talking about 6-mana Vraska?
Yeah, which one do you need?
Juan Carlito,
yeah.
¿cuál te gusta?
Vraska, it turns out Vraska Emblem plus Carnage Tyrant is kind of a combo.
Very difficult to put in.
No tomaré el reloj.
Ooh, so this, he can march here.
Me
Are
mataron.
we gonna, I think we'll just like,
Tienes que girar,
march,
porque...
and then just close out the game that way.
So end step march, untap, ultimate Vivian read.
Or just attack. You don't even need to. You could probably just attack with everything because.
I would have this for blockers. That attack.
Oh, you would try to go for over lethal here?
Absolutely. I mean, a bunch of them have lifelink anyway. Like,
yeah. Just get your opponent to -1.
Ah, porque también te...
By the way, if that happens, that's the line that
como tú tienes que también.
somebody to screenshot it and tell me how much damage he actually
¿No te acordaste que estás en un ProTour en cámara, weón? Y te van a pasar todos los tokens que necesites.
Claro que sí, cuando juegan.
No, pero si tienen un equipo como de 7 hueones mirando cada partida y como imbéciles.
Claro. Como en un top 8, por ejemplo, que sería casi imposible que un asiático matiera una tierra derecha cuando tenía que estar girando.
Claro.
Delante de todos los hueones. Y nadie dijo nada.
It looks like he doesn't even get a chance to do so. Taejun Hao picks up Vivian Reed, says,
También puede hacer esos saltos girando.
¿Y qué ganó por intimidad?
El chino colorín, como dijo este hueón.
El chino coloringo.
2 players knocking at the door of the top 8. We could see them both in the top 8. It is not impossible at all, depending on how the standings go in this last stretch.
No sé si
If
está.
they do need to play,
Estaba ahí.
Yeah, we'll probably be doing so, but there's definitely a very good chance that some number of XP ones will
Toma.
be to the top 8.
that's right. So,
Mira,
big
pobre
field
tortuga,
here
mira,
for
Toma,
but
tortuga.
it is getting right down to the wire. We just finished round number
Ninja
15. That means that there's one round to
¿Qué?
go
Que
in
tengo.
the Swiss before we cut to our top 8.
Toma.
Qué
Top 8
ridículo.
announcement. We're going to take a short commercial break.
¿Cuál camino quieres que tome, Juan Carlos?
Last round of
El
action.
de la izquierda.
¿Ese?
Sí.
Es que ese está muy equivocado. Está muy equivocado.
Ah, sí nomás.
MTG Chip.
No quiero irme a otro mundo porque ese te lleva a otro mundo. Oh, me caí.
Musashi.
Estoy destrozado.
Team Musashi.
Toma. Toma. Deja. Toma.
Nero Rich King. No, es un nerd. Ya aparece el Nero, ¿no?
Sí. Nerd Rage.
Dispare la manzana así.
Omega Card Games.
Toma. ¡No! Toma.
Phoenix.
Uy,
New Dawn.
uy. Me salvé. Toma.
MTG Manager. ¿Qué onda?
Así nomás.
¿Esto fue final de ronda?
Sí.
Toma.
Oh.
Después de 1 hora y media de la ronda anterior.
Oh, Dios mío.
Uy.
Qué nefasto este ProTour, la transmisión.
Qué nefasto este ProTour. ¿Lo hago despacio o no? ¡Toma! No quiero irme a otro mundo. Toma.
A otra dimensión.
Otra dimensión.
¿No? Eso es otro.
Me voy a otro lugar.
Otra cosa.
¿A cuál mundo voy ahora?
No sé.
Yo tampoco. Pero no sé a cuál mundo voy ahora.
te tinca, ¿la dejamos hasta acá?
Yo creo.
¿Cierto? Que ya la verdad es que está medio aburrido la transmisión.
Sí.
Bueno, gente, vamos
a
finalizar por hoy porque en realidad este ProTour ha sido
nefasto.
Sí. Y yo creo que para finalizar, aclarar que vamos a hacer todo lo que esté en nuestro poder para transmitir el top 8 del próximo ProTour y verlo por ese lado.
Sí.
Porque está
ojalá sea el próximo ProTour sea un poco más interesante.
Sí.
Eso va a depender de la edición nueva. Si la edición nueva trae, como se han escuchado los rumores, lamentablemente dicen que vienen solo 2 guilds nomás.
Azorius y Orcho.
Sí. No los 5 que faltan. Entonces, si vienen solo 2, yo creo que no va a haber mucho aporte como de cambio de mazo, pero por lo menos que ojalá la transmisión en sí sea un poco más dinámica y haya más interesante.
No, y que no alarguen innecesariamente las rondas.
Sí.
Si más allá de uno ver partidas y todo, que igual es interesante, creo que lo que más interesa es saber cómo va avanzando el standing ronda a ronda. Creo que eso es mucho más interesante que ver 3 o 4 partidas de una ronda, ¿no?
¿Quieres ir ahí, Juan Carlos, o no?
Bueno, y ahora vemos que están haciendo tiempo. Sí. Bueno, gente,
entonces nos estamos viendo en la semana con nuevos videos.
Sí.
Vamos a seguir con lo nuestro. Se vienen los box toppers. ¿Qué más, Juan Carlito?
Eso nomás. Juan Paz nos acaba de decir hoy. Los saludamos y nosotros estamos terminando la transmisión. Así que se vendrán cosas nuevas. Vamos a ver si abrimos el box topper esta semana.
Sí, la carta falsa.
Sí.
¿Qué más? Los cómics, películas. Juan Carlito va a ir a ver Bestias Inesperadas en lugares inesperados. ¿Cómo se llama la cosa?
¿Qué? Animales fantásticos.
Eso, Bestias Inesperadas. Animales fantásticos. Eso. Ahí nos va a comentar cómo es la película. Probablemente hagamos inhumanamente hablando live para hablar de varios temas.
Puede ser, sí. Y bueno, Juan Paz dijo, Stone te amo.
Yo también, Juan Paz, te amo también. Juan Sol. Te amo también y me encanta sacarte la chucha en el maíz. Eso me produce, así mismo, hijo. Eso me produce un placer personal.
Bueno, gente, nos estamos viendo. Chau. Y esperemos que esta vez sí se corte la transmisión.